what it mean to be the best. Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
What's up? Welcome back to Tell the Truth. We have some Chiefs moves that have gone on since the last time we talked to you guys. I hope you guys are doing great. DG, CJ, how you guys feeling, man?
Hey, man, it's that time of the year. It's money.
You
money
dig
on
me?
the palm right now. Money. Palms is itching.
Pay the price, baby.
Who y'all think y'all got? Chelsea Clinton?
Show me the money.
Who?
Listen, Brett Veach, call me. Two-time. All-pro punter. I got you. Pay the price. That's all you gotta do, baby.
You dig me?
All right. We're going to get this started here. Obviously, the Chiefs have brought some people back. They have lost some people. They have acquired some new players that we're all going to hit as far as this is concerned. I think that we're going to start here as far as Hollywood Brown and Nick Bolton coming back. Obviously, these are two players that probably have vastly different aspects of the way the Chiefs fans really look at them. Obviously, Hollywood Brown is somebody that did not have a lot of games played. He brought a lot of excitement as far as last offseason this time, in which he was brought into Kansas City. And his dreams of seeing what him and Rice were going to be, and then eventually added Xavier Worthy. And obviously we saw it during training camp and unfortunately got hurt in that first preseason game. Ultimately, I think that given the way the season went, given how it looked when he came back, and where the Chiefs are as far as the wide receiver room, it just made too much sense to end up breaking it back. And of course, the circumstances in which, or I should say more so the timing in which that signing was announced was certainly interesting, given some Xavier Worthy things that happened earlier in that morning that honestly we don't need to discuss because it was nice and wrapped up in a bow and understood what actually happened in that circumstance. And we could just move on from that because fortunately, there shouldn't be any fallout from that situation. Ultimately, Hollywood Brown bringing back makes a lot of sense. So from you guys' perspective, a little bit as far as Hollywood Brown signing that 1 year, $11 million deal with incentive, I should say 1 year, basically $4 million deal with incentives up to $11 million because those are not likely to be earned based on him missing the games that he did last year.
Free my dog, first and foremost.
Please,
I only speak.
He's free and
my lawyers are around.
Always Team X, baby. Free my dog, man.
He is free and with the new haircut.
Talk to my lawyers.
He team chopped up. Stop playing.
Him and Hollywood Brown are both
team chopped up. And shout out to Pat too. Team Chop. Stop playing. But no, on a real note, glad to have Hollywood back. This was one of the first moves on my list for my offseason, so I'm glad that we got one out the way. The 1-4-5 combo of him and Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice was supposed to be the big part of our offense, right? Transitioning away from Kelsey last year. We didn't get that, unfortunately. Hollywood went down in the first quarter of the preseason game, which is freaking crazy. And then Rashee went down in the Chargers game. So it's sad to see those two guys go down, but obviously we bounced back and managed our way through it. And now we're back here in 2025. We're expected to have all three of those guys this year in some capacity. We're waiting to see the news on Rashee, but to have Hollywood back is amazing. I think this is a guy who could have 800 to 1,000 yards with us. And given the workload he's going to get with this offense, I think that's a no-brainer. And he has a second year in the offense. So it's a blessing in disguise. I was sad to see him get hurt. Obviously, never would wish that on any player, but definitely glad to see Hollywood back. A veteran in the locker room, veteran presence in the receiving room, more specifically. A guy that can run every route. You see the continuity and the chemistry him and Pat had that first game back versus Houston. And that was a guy that's up there missed the whole season. So I think it's going to be a seamless transition. All the excitement, all the expectations we had last year are just going to roll right back into the offense. So it should be a very seamless transition for Hollywood for sure.
Yeah, definitely excited to have Hollywood back. I kind of felt like this was going to happen regardless of what happened with the Xavier Worthy news.
For sure.
We kind of already heard from Veach that they were kind of prioritizing bringing him back. And I even with the Super Bowl, you kind of had a sense that Hollywood kind of felt like things were left unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of see that this is a place that he probably wanted to be back for another year to kind of prove himself again. But he's 27, so if he has a great year or whatever, has a chance and opportunity to go out there on the market again next year and really make a big payday. But yeah, I think he fits in the offense extremely well. When he did the little sample size that we did get to see of him, I thought he brought back a lot of open space to this offense, and I think him and Xavier and Rasheed will be a hell of a trio together. Hopefully, we get to see for the foreseeable future. So yeah, definitely excited to have him back. And it's go time, man. So definitely, hopefully, he can stay healthy this time around.
Get my dog, get him some extra pads man, right here on the shoulder pad.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, don't even play preseason.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not.
Just not. Don't even put him out there.
Wait till week 1, baby. You know the offense. You don't need no reps. You good.
Yeah. So yeah, glad to have Hollywood back, man.
Yes, nice to see Fahrenheit 451 is back within Kansas City, and hopefully we get to see all 3 of those guys actually on the field together, ideally for the majority of the season, but hopefully just at some point for a nice stretch, and certainly when it matters most. And we, again, like the way that he opened up the offense. He continues to, get open on a consistent basis, brings that speed element, and hopefully if the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl is any indication, we're going to be throwing the ball deep a little bit more than you saw for the majority of the game, or season, I should say. Nick Bolton. So Nick Bolton ends up signing a 3-year, it's $45 million deal, essentially $30 million in guarantees. Nick Bolton, obviously a controversial figure within the Chiefs community, somebody that has been, for lack of a better term, the quarterback of the defense, Spagnuolo cornerstone as far as how he positions it from that standpoint. Steve Spagnuolo has harped on the importance of what he brings to the table. Obviously, you see the physicality in the run game, his ability to defend the run, certainly his ability to play coverage, not necessarily at a great level, but at an acceptable level, a solid level, and he's continued to get better as far as that is concerned as well. Ultimately, $15 million, when we get kind of discussed the price tag, we kind of were like, yeah, 12 would probably be ideal. 14, 15, pushing it a little bit. But ultimately, I think that where I landed it was not over the price tag that I would have wanted, so much so that I felt terrible about the deal. So Nick Bolton, $15 million, a little bit more than I would have liked, but ultimately to get the guy back in Spagnuolo's defense that he felt like he needed, I'm acceptable from that standpoint. And given the way that they maneuvered with the cap, which includes obviously moving up for Joe Tooney, we'll talk about them getting cap compliant later on. I think that it's fine in the centerpiece of this defense and has not necessarily precluded some other moves that they've made. So for right now, go with the Nick Bolton contract, and certainly important given the fact that Justin Reid is now a New Orleans Saint, who we'll discuss a little bit more later, to keep that continuity as far as the defense is concerned is important. CJDG, give your thoughts as far as Nick Bolton coming back to Kansas City is concerned.
Go ahead.
Nick Bolton, outside of probably Chris Jones and Trent McDuffie, the most important player on the defense. So easily one of the top 5 most important players on this team for sure. Like everything he does on the football field is how pre-snap, alignment, and assignment, it embodies Nick Bolton. Obviously a Texas kid through and through. I know DG loves that. Obviously he's been in the state of Missouri for the last, going on 10 years now? Because obviously he did his 3-4 years at Mizzou, then obviously 4 years here. So he's been in the state of Missouri for a very long time. So this is home for him. I know he never really wanted to leave. I know it was a possibility he could hit the market. And most of the fans that I knew that were interested in Nick Bolton, obviously they loved his play, but they weren't really interested in breaking the bank on him. And once I heard like the rumblings from what fans thought, I kind of figured that he didn't have that much of a high market value. So I knew he wanted to come back always, as long as we gave him a respectable number. And before the free agency even started, we had our show and we said anywhere from 12 to 15 was the range. All 3 of us would have been more comfortable, probably so at a 12, 13 mark, but 15 was the higher end, which was probably more reality. And especially if a guy that's helped us win, 2-3 Super Bowls, you can't really be too mad about what he's done with his time here. Every time he's on the football field, you can see the difference between how guys get lined up when he's not on the field and how we operate our defense when he's off the field. It's a nowhere near comparison. Obviously, when he wears the green dot for a reason, our defense is not the same when 32 is not out there. Spags trusts him more than anybody. And some of the biggest moments this year, he made some of the biggest plays. Getting off the field on third down. I guess a guy like Dalton Kincaid in the AFC Championship game, he made a play when he had to. So he has his flaws for sure. He's not a perfect player by any means, but this is one of the best tacklers in football. Like DG said, he's 24 years old. He's a monster in the run game. He's one of the smartest guys I know in the league. So to have him back for this team is you can't put a price on that kind of value, because when you have a defensive coordinator and a linebacker, your quarterback, who are such in sync, it helps you get the call out faster. And sometimes Spags tells Nick some things, and Nick already knows what the call is before he's even announcing it, because he just is in tune with the defense and knows everything about it. So his value is way more than $15 million for this team. He's the heartbeat to this defense. Everybody respects him. Everybody loves him. And we just play 10 times better when he's out there. We're not the same without him. So definitely glad to see him back. Definitely glad to have him back out there with us. And hopefully we can go out there and win some more games, because he definitely changes everything for our defense for sure.
Yeah, I got a little bone to pick. With the Angel Reese.
What Angel Reese be doing? The fingers.
Got a little bone to pick with the Nick Bolton haters.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man. Look, this is a question I've been mulling over, and I've been asking a lot of my guys who great film analysts or played the game at a certain point. How many linebackers in this league are great in pass coverage?
Not that many.
There ain't that many. Just can think of probably two off the top of my head. Fred Warner. Maybe you want to throw Roquan Smith in there at times.
No.
Look.
And I don't even like Roquan, respectfully.
Roquan's not a great pass guy.
Fred really,
and I know where DG's going with this, but guess what? We've seen Fred Warner get cooked as well.
Plenty of
not
times.
Just by wide receivers, by tight ends in the
That's
Super Bowl. Keep going, DJ.
Interesting.
In the blender.
So you would say, playing middle linebacker in this league and trying to ask that person, to be a pass coverage kind of guy might put them at a little bit of a disadvantage against faster receivers and obviously more hybrid tight ends that are coming into the league now.
Mm-hmm.
You would say,
certain running backs, yep.
That's all I heard about Nick Bolton and that hate against him is he can't cover nobody. He's terrible in pass coverage. Most middle linebackers are. I don't understand what game.
It's not terrible in pass coverage, but if he's lined up with a wide receiver, it's not going to go well. Again, there are limitations to him athletically, side to side, which just happened, and obviously you want him more in a spot drop type of thing. And there are times in which he can get manipulated. He is again not a great coverage guy. He's more solid for the position, and fine and competent from that aspect.
Back to my point is I don't understand what people want out of these players. Like, every player in this league has a flaw. No player in this league is perfect.
Say that again.
And I understand there are guys that they play at a higher level than some certain other guys in this league or whatever, and that's what separates the best from the worst or whatever. But Nick Bolton is a guy who not only is able to be one of the smarter players on the field, get your defensive line lined up correctly. Before him, I don't understand if people realize how bad it was. Just alignment issues alone. When Anthony Hitchens was here,
boy, oh boy,
it was terrible. People were out of place.
Talk about getting lined up.
Missed tackles.
Running into each other.
Just everything. Mad chaos. And then Greg Veach goes and drafts this kid out of Mizzou.
Second round pick.
From day one, even when he wore 54, he made splash plays on the field. Yes, I understand he's not that great in pass coverage. It is what it is. But I will live with a guy being able to be one of the sure tacklers in this league, be able to come down, crash into gaps, make plays behind the line of scrimmage, which he does time and time after again. or whatever. I'm willing to pay him to do that for the next 3 years if that's what it takes, and be the green dot on this team. I know a lot of people were sitting here saying maybe Leo Chanel, maybe Drew Tranquil.
Mm-mm.
And like, yeah, I get it. Maybe those guys can step in for a game or two, but for a full season, I'd rather see 32 out there on the field, being in control of this defense and being the quarterback of this defense. And Spags trust him, so therefore, I never saw him really ever leaving Kansas City.
I don't think y'all realize how hard it is to wear a green dot. I know most people who've ever played football, playing linebacker is already hard enough. And some guys are suited towards, hey, you're an off-ball linebacker or you're on the line of scrimmage, you're an off-ball linebacker to where your job is to set people up to get rushed, sack the quarterback, go hunt backside. That's your job. It's not as much thinking. What Nick Bolton does on a down-to-down basis, like DG just said, he is the quarterback of the defense. You have to take a call in less than 30 seconds from Spags, repeat it back to your teammates, and also get everyone lined up. Oh, and do your job. And also, if they adjust their front, if they adjust the formation, you have to call it out so everyone's on the same page. That is not an easy thing to do at all. And on top of the fact, you still have to go out there and make a play yourself. So I think people need to be mindful of there are certain linebackers for a reason. There's weak side, there's off ball, there's on the line of scrimmage, and then there's middle linebacker. Everybody can't be a middle linebacker, bro. I'm sorry to tell you that. That's why, DG, how many you just said that's in the league that are the elite of the elites? There's a short. Remember, DMac, you remember how everyone hyped up Devin White a few years ago?
After that Super Bowl, boy, they love that.
Where's he at now? Where he at now, DG?
And the reason why, I think he just got signed somewhere. But the reason why he was so hyped up was because he didn't have to think about the game. It was not his job to think about the game. His job was for Levante David and Todd Bowles to tell him what gap to run into and not pay attention to anything else and run and just try and blow things up. And you can have an extremely athletic person do that job, and that's useful, but you don't pay for it because you can find a bunch of those guys on the street on a consistent basis. Nick Bolton's job is a whole lot harder. It is a thinking aspect of it, and especially not just any Todd Bowles defense, in a defense like Steve Spagnuolo's that has as many moving parts as it does and tries to attack the protection schemes in the way that it specifically does. It's more complex than that. Getting guys lined up front to back is more complex than that. Noticing tendencies as far as pass protection schemes and relaying that back to Steve Spagnuolo so that he can call the right blitzes. That comes with a different level of the game. And that is where, when after the signing happened, I was bombarded with PFF grades and that people have no idea how PFF grades are borne out or anything as far as that's concerned. There's no way for PFF to ever catch the value as far as Nick Bolton is concerned. They don't have the ability to. They don't know the play calls. They don't know the conversations him and Spags have. They don't take in the value of the intangibles of getting guys lined up. So, yes, you can be upset about Nick Bolton's coverage grade. And yes, there are limitations on him as a linebacker, both in coverage and occasionally getting sideline to sideline, in which he's going to get beat sometimes. But the value that the Chiefs have put on the premium that is Nick Bolton at their middle linebacker spot that involves the intangibles that are actually important to the game, yeah, I understand why they paid a little bit more than I probably would have been comfortable with, or maybe his level of play strictly would dictate.
Exactly. And D-Mac, I love the reference you said about Levante David. Y'all guess how old Levante David is?
35 now.
I think.
35. He's been in the league since 2012. How do you think he stayed in the league that long? Who's been the middle linebacker for the Buccaneers his entire career? Him. Doing what? Calling the defense, being the quarterback, everything that me and D-Mac just stated. There's a reason for that. There's not that. I think Levante's job has not been replaced since he's been there for a reason. Everybody can't do what he does. They thought Devin White could do it, and what happened?
It didn't work.
It didn't work. But you love the guys that are fast and athletic, huh?
And you know why Ray Lewis was the middle linebacker for the Ravens for as long as he was, and he was out there with the big old elbow brace in the 2012 Super Bowl, and they trusted him to do so because he had the mind for the game to be able to understand the defense and call it accordingly. They trusted him to do so. Middle linebacker is a position that involves the intangibles that can't be properly, captured.
It's not in a box,
and it's not. And again, it's not every middle linebacker because there are some defenses that you don't need a middle linebacker to think through these things because it's just not necessary. But in this defense, for as great, and I think there's nobody in Chiefs Kingdom that disagree when I say this, for as Hall of Fame level of Steve Spagnuolo being the best defensive coordinator in the National Football League, you want the guy that Steve Spagnuolo trusts to call his defense. Nick Bolton is the guy that he trusts. So, yeah, there you go.
You can't put a value on that, bro. That's not a money thing. It's not a speed thing. That's something you don't see in a box score. You just got to watch the games.
Yes, and DG, that's why you have to end up paying the price as far as Nick Bolton is concerned. And so you can have quibbles with it. Obviously, as far as the value is concerned, we can have our disagreements as far as that aspect of it. But ultimately speaking, Steve Spagnuolo wants Nick Bolton here. Nick Bolton's here. I'm cool with it. That's just the reality of the situation. I'll trust Steve Spagnuolo on that standpoint. So obviously, those are the two guys that were brought back, and we'll talk, a little bit more about some of the smaller guys that were brought back as well. But I did want to get to the headliner signing. Dropped basically immediately as the tampering period did begin. That'd be one Jaylon Moore, the San Francisco 49ers, 2-year, $30 million deal, up close to around $20 million of a guaranteed, really kind of more of a 1-year bigger money deal they can get after this year if necessary. For those that do not know, Jaylon Moore was the backup to the 49ers, Trent Williams left tackle for a pretty long time as far as San Francisco is concerned. He's been there about 3 or 4 years now. He did end up playing a significant chunk of snaps, I think around 283 snaps of left tackle this season, given that Trent Williams did miss time as far as that's concerned. And so you look at what his profile is, a good athlete, not a great athlete, overwhelming one. About 33-inch arms, maybe a little bit more than 33-inch arms, not overwhelming length from that standpoint, but competent length in which when you see the tape, you say that's enough what you want to work with. Solid anchor, really good anchor in my opinion, an anchor that is significantly better than what you saw from Joe Tooney, left tackle, that got him in trouble in the Super Bowl, in my opinion, about guys being able to run through his face. Difference in the systems, of course, from Kyle Shanahan, obviously coming from that zone-heavy run schemes aspect of it. They didn't ask a whole lot of necessarily true pass sets of, those drop-back aspects, and we're going to get to the tape as far as the tape of the week is concerned. But in those, type of aspects, they did trust him to go out there and be able to block guys on one-on-one, and that was against very good edge rushers, the Jared Verses of the world. He had some reps against Chris Jones as well within our matchup earlier last year as well. So I think it's worthwhile to kind of go through. And ultimately, as far as the value is concerned, and I'll ask you guys about this, I think it's fine. $15 million a year to make this bet on this guy at this time, I think is okay. I have no real qualms about it. Truthfully, the way I land is that the floor that you saw from him last year, if you get that coming to Kansas City, then that means you have upgraded at the left tackle position to a competent level of play. And I think that's a good thing, and that's better than anything that you had last year. And that's really where I land with it. And paying $15 million to make that happen is perfectly good for me. I know Dan Moore got, $20 million from the Titans over 4 years? Insane money. But that's where the market is going as far as left tackle play is concerned. Ronnie Stanley obviously got extended for $20 million a year, which is reportedly the aspect. I said not overwhelmingly.
Jesus, bug. Who is it?
Ronnie Stanley went back for $20 million a year, which apparently is the cap in which we were willing to pay him. That's reportedly after the fact as well, even though guys like the Commanders, who end up trading for Larry Tunsil, which is a nuts thing as well, and the Patriots were willing to go to $24+ million for Ronnie Stanley. So ultimately, money-wise, I'm cool with it. I understand the bet. And when his tape backs up is that there could be some aspects of getting around the arc. There could be issues. He does have a little bit of slower feet. His feet are fine. They're not great from that standpoint. He's got power in his punch and power in his anchor. And I think that he can give you competent left tackle play, which is honestly all I could look for ultimately for where this market is going, especially at that price. So DG and CJ, what's your initial thoughts as far as Moore is concerned? And then we'll kind of look through the tape as far as some true passes.
Yeah, I loved it. As soon as I heard the news, loved it. Definitely loved the contract as well too. I feel like it's a good payday for him, but also a good contract for him to come in and still have something to prove. At the end of the day, it's probably most money for a guy who got drafted in the 5th round. Probably most money he's seen in his career. So, yeah, I would have jumped at the opportunity as well too. But from what I stepped in admirably, I felt like for Trent Williams last year, seen some little bits and parts of tape from him. Had some good reps, I felt like, against Jared Verse last year. Good reps when they played us against Chris Jones at points in time. So I think that he can really hold his own on that side. I'm not looking for him to be an all-pro or an all-world tackle over there. Just be serviceable. Just give us serviceable tackle play. Just don't let my quarterback get hit, man. And, just go out there and just do your job at this point. I think that's what, Brett Veach and his organization is kind of asking of him at this time. So I think it's perfect for them. Didn't have to really back up the Brinks truck to get a guy who you felt like is a stopgap tackle for you. 2 years, if it doesn't work out, then you can go back in the draft and try to find your guy again while you have him here or whatever to kind of give you a little bit of play. So, and then I love the age too. 27. I felt like that was right inside of Brett Veach's wheelhouse where he likes to go with these type of contracts. So, hopefully it's a perfect fit. Hopefully he's ready to work and ready to just watch and dive in, see what else we can get out of it.
No, everything DG said I agree with. I love the value. Like we said, 2 years, $30 million. We knew we weren't going to break the bank at this position, obviously, because I think Jaylon Moore is kind of like in that line of an upgraded stopgap because we obviously have been to 5 different Super Bowls, had 5 different left tackles, and I think the whole transition we've had over the last 5 years, big picture-wise, it kind of makes us appreciate Eric Fisher even more for what he did. I know he was never elite, but to have a guy that that was a starter that was consistent for 7 years was invaluable because now everyone's kind of realizing how short, and it's always been like this, how small the left tackle market is in free agency. There's not that many guys that are available to be started for a reason. People were ready to break the bank on Ronnie Stanley, a guy that couldn't even play a full season until last year. So it's a very small and very slim market for left tackles. But as far as Jaylon, I love the athleticism. I love the size. A little short on the arms for what we're used to. We're used to having guys that are 34 to 35-inch arms on lengthwise, but 33 and a half is still a good mark for us. Like DG said, as a younger guy under the age of 30, we knew this was going to be a temporary fix to 2 to 3 years. It's hard to find a guy that you really want. Obviously, we want a long-term starter, somebody you can find in the draft. But like I've said for years, if you want to find a guy, you got to move your assets because there's not going to be starters around 30 to 24 where we're usually drafting because we're always winning football games. So I love the option. It's an upgrade from what we had last year. Obviously, he's a guy that can get out and pull and make a lot of plays in the open field, given the opportunity to make blocks. When you're playing in a scheme of Kyle Shanahan, you have to be athletic. And obviously, that's the thing that Veach and more so Andy appreciates in our offense is having a guy that can make plays. I love his fit. I love the age. Decent blocker, nothing crazy overall. Like DG said, he's not elite in any aspect. Decent feet, decent hands. I watched a lot of clips of their game last year. Obviously, that wasn't a fair sample size given Christian McCaffrey wasn't in the offense because he makes everyone better. But for what they ask him to do and what I think we're going to ask him to do in our offense is serviceable. He has decent feet, decent hands, nothing crazy upside. Like I said, he has good size, good arm length. I think he could definitely be a guy that's an upgrade from what we've had the last year or two. So obviously, would have loved to see Joe Tooney stay, but this is the price of doing business. You got to move on from older players. But what we're going to ask Jaylon Moore to do, I think, is a serviceable guy. And I think a lot of people in Chiefs Kingdom have said, we don't need elite left tackle play, we just need average. So I think if we get that, we have the guys on the right side that can overcome that. And obviously, it's going to be a newer transition to see who the left guard is going to be. Overwhelming case right now, it'll be Kingsley. So I'm excited to see how his athleticism will translate inside because we know he has the feet to do it, but he's going to have the strength and the power to be technique-wise to play inside as well. So that'll be a good, exciting look to see. I'm definitely paying attention to that during training camp when they put pads on. But overall, I think it's a win for us. Would have liked to seen us maybe be more aggressive in certain guys in the draft, but I think for the time being, we signed him for 2 years. He's going to be here, and then we can be more aggressive and fill other positions of need on the roster. So I think it's a good move for us for sure.
Yeah, and I understand specifically from the differences in the system is concerned, and we'll talk about this as we kind of go through it. It certainly is harder to play left tackle in Kansas City from that aspect of it. I do truly believe that as far as the range of outcomes, I wouldn't say that average left tackle play is really on the lucky end. I think that it's, I think it's reasonable as far as a positive outcome, and certainly on the positive side, not necessarily a floor, but I do think this kid does have what's necessary to play an average or competent level of left tackle play in Kansas City from that standpoint. But yeah, that's just kind of how I look at it from the left tackle standpoint. But we certainly can. Let me make sure I get this right here. We certainly can kind of talk about it and what we see as far as the actual tape is concerned. And I think this first one he's going to end up getting some double team. So we're going to get to the next one here. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. And so we kind of pulled up as far as kind of the third down and longs, and we'll kind of go through the second and longs as far as it pertains to the, I should say the, almost messed that up. I'm going to make sure I don't end up freaking the wrong way here. As far as it pertains to that specific Rams game, because I think it's interesting because the Rams have obviously a really good rotation of defensive linemen to take a look at. But obviously Moore is going to pass it out here. And again, you're going to see this as far as a lot of these 49ers clips. They do get the ball out quickly, but you're going to see that quick kind of flatter set for Moore to jump out quickly, get his hands on them, and just try and get him around the arc as well. And Trey asked it in the chat, where is he better as far as speed rushers versus power rushers? Better against power rushers, certainly, because that's where his strength lies. Speed rushers, it's going to be more of he's trying to get his hands on you quickly and push you up the arc from that standpoint too. As you see, he's got a good anchor. He's not necessarily going to let people just walk through his face. Certainly, we saw plenty of that as far as Super Bowl was concerned, but that's not something that he's going to be able to do. He comes with that power in his hands to be able to shut down those bull rushes as well. Yeah. This is Braylon Allen, obviously playing quarterback.
Xavier McKinney.
Terrible throw.
Braylon Allen is not the.
There's the reason why you're a backup, brother.
Respect Braylon Allen. No, I'm playing. Drop.
Jesus. That's my bad.
Sorry. Back.
Great anchor, man. I love how quick he can get out, especially on some of his reps or whatever. I do think that there will be some worries maybe about, guys who are more speed rushers. But I did see there was a couple times where he was able to kind of get those guys up the arc and at least keep them off the quarterback and give time for a quarterback to at least step up and make a throw. So we all know playing left tackle for Mahomes is going to be a little bit different, just with sometimes Pat has a tendency to drop back and drift in the pocket a little bit. But I do think that this guy may be able to have the anchor enough to be able to hold his own on that side. So.
Yeah, and you're going to see here, Rashawn Gary, and this is, indicative of what you'll kind of see throughout it, is that he does have that ability to mirror his feet to his hands. And when he gets his hands on, you'll be able to really lock it in because of the power that he does have there. And that helps him as far as versus speed rushes to be able to push them up the arc as well. You're not going to see too often where he's completely off balance, or really just often in general where he's off balance and his feet aren't moving, but he's trying to hold on. And that obviously causes those holding penalties from that standpoint. Does a pretty solid job of moving his feet and his hands at the same time.
Yeah. I love how quick he gets out of his stance. There were times last year where you saw Wanye just be so slow.
Same thing with
get out of his stance and just like he's moving in mud, man. So
it's a confidence thing too. When you know what to do and you know how to execute, you can get out of your stance quicker. And then, like DMac said, you're just playing ball. So your feet is everything. So there are a lot of tackles in this league who aren't the best athletes, but if you have quick feet and you can get set, you at least getting your feet set is half the battle of playing left tackle. And I was more so like this, like DMac, like GG just said, when you get out of your stance quickly, now the defense is obviously at a disadvantage in a game like this because there's snow on the ground, so they have a slower get off. But when you can get out of your stance, it gives you everything an advantage of using your hands, using your hips, and not open up in that gate as quickly. And then you can go out there and play ball. So quick feet is always going to help you, even if you're a shorter arm guy too.
And it shortens that window for him to get a runway to really try and have really power behind it as well. With a guy that has that anchor of more. And again, this is a difference in where that they teach their linemen as far as taking those flatter sets, attacking out. That's more of something that Orlando Brown Jr. was comfortable doing than really you've seen other Chiefs tackles doing on a consistent basis from that standpoint. So it'll be interesting to see if they let him do his thing and continue on that pathway. Personally, I would like to see that, and I think that's fine. I think that you could still, have that work within KC's system. It's just going to be a different, teach from that standpoint. But again, that allows him to close that gap quickly, get his hands on you, and then be able to work off of there. Go ahead, DG. What are you going to say?
No, I was going to say this, and these ain't no slouch guys that he's going up against.
Rousseau just got that deal from the Buffalo Bills as a significant contract extension. I think it was $50 million guaranteed, $80 million overall.
It's a guy we're going to see in the playoffs. So
and we saw Rashawn Gary obviously earlier as well against the Packers from that standpoint. We'll skip the pass because that was just kind of the screen pass as well. And again, we'll get to the Rams tape later on within this as we talk about some of that talk as far as really good pass rushers. It's certainly not in the snow necessarily.
Yeah, facts.
A
little bit.
But this is actually a pretty good example of it where you're going to see Russo does a good job using that long arm to get him off balance, but Moore has the strength in his anchor and balance to not get completely thrown off and still be able to, for lack of a better term, die slowly. So where Russo kind of just tries to use that inside hand to shove him off, he just kind of just shakes it off a little bit. It still stays in the play enough to keep that pocket intact. And there's something to be said for that because obviously when the guys that we had play left tackle last year lost, they lost quickly, whether it was Wanye Morris or it was early on Kingsley Suamataia versus Trey Henderson getting his hand swiped. Wanye Morris on one leg versus Kevin Shea-Shawn on that Black Friday game. It was a mess from that standpoint as well. They're just going to pass off that. Oh my, I forgot how bad that snow was in that game.
Yeah, the weather.
It got real blurry. Can't see.
Nah, I love his anchor. Just how well. So to me, I think what proves of a good tackle sometimes is not necessarily can you win every rep. How do you recover on your reps? Because that's predominantly what this league is going to be about. You got too many good edge rushers in this league, and they all can do different things. So how well can you recover on certain reps to just keep, your quarterback upright? So I think he's in some of these clips he's shown, he's at least willing to do that at points in time. So it's not about winning every rep, so I don't expect him to do that.
Okay. That's why I said quick feet. If you get your feet in place, you're giving yourself a chance to win. And I think just that's about you can tell when he gets out of his set right here, he's confident. He's staying low, head is on his target, putting his hip out there first. Now when you get that foot back, now you can sit there and just mirror whatever the defensive end is doing, like DMac says. So feet and getting that snap off the ball, and that's another thing of knowing where you need to be, that you can go out there and play ball. And obviously it's a different thing to say so to be blocking for a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Obviously he'll learn that more so in camp. But I think Pat is going to do even more so of his job and his due diligence to know, hey, my linemen have been doing their job blocking my ass off for me for the last 3-4 years. So I need to do my job and get the ball out quickly. And I think that'll help and go and coincide with things, having Hollywood back, having Rasheed back in the offense when he's on the field, having Xavier Worthy in his second year. When we get the ball out quickly like we did in 2022, our tackles don't have to be on islands. They don't have to be perfect like they were 3 years ago. So I think we can get back to playing football like that, doing more of our RPO game, and Pat committing to our running back game and running the football. That'll make our lineman's job easier. And when he'll have to improvise, he'll improvise. But let's just not lean on that so much and lean on our quick game, because when we do that, that's when our offense is at its best.
Yeah.
And I think it's important also to highlight from this standpoint is that when we say get the ball out quickly, it's not necessarily that means that you're only throwing the ball short. Like there are ways within structure to have the ball still go down the field and still within that 3-second time frame as well. And that is the aspect of the aggressiveness that I'd like to see coming back. But when you take these flatter, sets to be able to close that gap and where that engagement is going to end up happening, not only does it create more operating room for the quarterback within the pocket, but it also allows you to be more aggressive in taking the fight to the defense, which I think isn't the worst thing as far as his tutelage to this point is concerned. But there you see, he's just going to, see Sweat trying to keep on taking it up the arc, and Montez Sweat, again, not a slouch as far as edge rushes are concerned, and just go with his feet and be able to push him around Brock Purdy as he delivers the ball. And that's enough for, him to end up throwing an interception.
Jesus Christ.
To Jesse Owens.
Jesus Christ.
That's unfortunate there from no, that was Allen. Okay, never mind. That was Allen. Okay, never mind. My bad. I wrongly attributed that one to Brock Purdy. My bad.
Trash.
I felt bad for that one. That was going to be unfortunate. I will say I'll answer this quickly from
Harold. Yeah, you're gonna be disgusted already.
Sorry to tell you, Demarcus Robinson signed.
He ain't coming back.
Was it 2 years, $9.5 million with who? Who was it again? I forget.
49ers.
With the
49ers. Speaking of the devil,
they chose Tutu Atwell, so over D-Rob.
Well, I understand why they did that.
I'm not mad
about that because Devontae Adams in the way that fits.
Yeah, for sure. That makes
sense. Here we get to the Rams tape, and then again, we'll kind of talk about the Rams a little bit, I guess, more in depth from this standpoint. So Jared Verse lined up against Jaylon Moore here on this play. On the right side of your screen, if you can't necessarily pick out the numbers from that standpoint. And again, Jared Verse, excellent rookie of the year from that standpoint, candidate on the defensive side. Tries to kind of get a little outside chop move to get Moore's hands off of him. Moore does a really good job. He initially kind of sets vertical, or I should say really horizontal, and then he starts getting that depth when he realizes Verse is trying to get to that outside, and does a really good job getting that initial punch kind of with that outside hand, locking up, playing off that chop, and then just pushing around the edge. And again, being able to recognize when you need to kind of get on your horse and get back as far as the pocket is concerned, and being able to do so on balance. That's not a skill that is, as you say, just, run of the mill from that standpoint. Did a really good job as far as his technique, as far as his pass set versus
another good edge versus rookie of the year.
Well-deserved rookie of the year too.
Absolutely.
It wasn't he got this number of sacks. Luckily, that man's a monster out there.
That's another good boy to go against. He went against him twice too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the kind of reps I wanted to watch and kind of see him going up against guys they line up in that wide 9 area. And see how well he does with this.
And that flat set is better than trying to get depth because, like DMac said, you want to get on him rather quickly. So especially when it's an obvious passing down situation, if you're getting depth, that's cool, but you have help on your inside. So get out there flatter. So if he does beat you inside, you at least you have help coming there from you. So gave yourself a chance to win before the play even starts.
Yeah. And not the best rep again. Verse does a good job kind of just falling off enough, long arming to keep him inside it and get a little natural rub there to get a little bit of a hand there on Brock Purdy as he delivers the ball. But again, enough done as far as that's concerned to provide a pocket and structure for Purdy to be able to deliver this ball to Juwan Jennings for the first down conversion. And sometimes as an offensive lineman, do enough.
That's all you got to do. Just give me
do enough.
Just give me a window. That's all I need.
Especially versus these guys. When you're talking about the Jared versus the Rashawn Garys, the Montez Sweats of the world, just do enough.
Absolutely.
And the Rams, again, as you talked about, DG, lining in that wide 9, they did a very specific job of trying to target and isolate Jaylon Moore from that standpoint. This one here, it's a tight end versus Jared Verse, so we'll go ahead and skip past that one.
He definitely should have. He should have saved.
Jaylon Moore should have doubled.
Yeah, like obviously when you see your guy not rushing, hey bro, your eyes should immediately go, I have a tight end blocking this guy. So
help that man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. My guy's not rushing. My eyes immediately go to my left. So yeah.
Because that wasn't even Kittle. That was somebody else that was out there.
Exactly. That was like Dawdle, whoever that backup tight end is.
Yeah. They're going to pass off the stunt with Young coming inside.
Good pickup.
Did a good job. Just handing off Hoyt. Or is that's Fisk coming at him.
Yep. Fisk.
Handles the power, doesn't, do anything. Just Fisk goes right around him. No issues as far as that stunt is concerned as well. There's something to be said for being able to pass those off effectively. And obviously, like CJ said, you expect it not, unfortunately, to be all pro, extremely veteran, experienced Joe Tooney in the inside now. You're going to have a guy, whether it's Kingsley or Norzad, who is, young to the position. So you're going to have that communication and passing those stunts off be at an extremely high level as well. Again, another rep here. Looks like you're going to have maybe some running back chip help, but Verse, again, coming from that wide 9, they're not going to end up doing it. It's going to be one-on-one on the island. Verse tries to kind of slap his hands down. Jesus Christ, Debo.
And you wonder why they let you go, son. Jesus.
That's unfortunate.
Bro, I think he would have won the game on that play too. I remember that. Yeah, he would have scored on this. This would have won him the game. It was that slant over the middle. This is like the third, fourth quarter, I believe.
It's third quarter.
Yeah, they would have, because there was only one touchdown scored in this game. He would have won it on that touchdown.
That's unfortunate. Verse is going to try and swipe his hands down. Moore does a really good job. Getting that initial punch with really both hands. And again, that quick horizontal set to get out there. And again, plenty of room here for Brock Purdy to operate in. And, he just does a good job locking up Jared Verse. And again, I do hope that's really my biggest thing for him coming over to the system. Like, obviously, there are going to be adjustments as far as that's concerned. My biggest hope is that they just let him do his normal thing and keep that aggressive mindset about him. Obviously, the run game would be cool, but just keep that aggressive mindset and being able to attack these edge rushers on a consistent basis and not allowing them to get a head start against you from that standpoint. We'll watch. We'll see if we get a little bit of Agba snaps there. Agba, again, a guy that plays with extremely great power. And again, he's not, one of those top level edge rushers, but he is somebody that can really take the fight to you if you're not ready for it. Just an example of Moore being able to absorb that power with his anchor, get his hands on him, and really lock him up as far as that's concerned. A good rep again from Jaylon Moore as well. I did want to take a look real quick here to see some of these second and longs, specifically versus the Rams too. 45 minutes. You can get a few of these in here too. And specifically go to the first ones as well. Talk to me, guys, really quickly while we kind of go through this. How do you guys feel as far as ultimately what it's going to look like with either Kingsley or Norzad next to Jaylon Moore on that left side?
I think Kingsley brings a lot of athleticism to the position, so I think that's going to help. Obviously, the knowledge and the sets and the prior experience that Joe Tooney had is irreplaceable. He's an all-pro, future Hall of Famer for a reason. But I think one thing that Kingsley does have on his side, learning from being on that island last year, and the shorts that you do have, it's a different monster when you're inside, knowing you have help. But I think his athleticism will help him. And obviously, we know how good he is with playing in space. I think when you're in these moments, now you know you have help on your left and your right. Now it's just about necessarily using your power. So I think he could use his foot speed and his athleticism to his advantage. And he's going to have to learn how to play with strength and play with technique. But I think having that quickness and, like we just said, getting out of your stance quickly is going to help you in certain situations, especially when you have three techs and guys playing right in front of your chest. So I think him having his feet speed is going to help him a lot. But it's going to be a big transition for him playing inside full time. But I think his speed and athleticism will help him a lot for sure.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see him on a pulling play out front, using that athleticism. Man, I think that it's for me, it's Kingsley's job to pretty much lose at this point. I don't think you invest that high of a pick in alignment and you don't give him a shot to start somewhere on your line. But I think it'll work. Virtually well. I think that's, like CJ said, speaking to his athleticism, that's the first thing for Kingsley. I think anybody watches any film on him that pops off the charts, just how quickly and how well he can move, how fast his feet are. And I think this will give him, to me, in my opinion, more confidence to get the opportunity to play inside, just because you have that help there or whatever. It's not so reliant on just you being out there on an island by yourself. So excited to see it, man. Excited to see what they have schemed up for him next year.
Absolutely. Look at that anchor right there. Again, Verse trying to shove him off. Moore does a good job once again taking the fight to him.
Get that head back up. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good recovery right there, because he got his head in the chest real quick.
Yeah, he used that outside hand really to keep himself in the play long enough for Purdy to deliver that ball as well. Who was that getting that ESPN alert?
That was me. My bad.
Joe was loudest. That was also Hoyt. I'm trying to see just if they had any more Verse or Young snaps. We saw that other one that he had versus Young. Just another example of him using that power and that anchor to make sure he's not run through there. Once again, I mean, a little bit more dying slow. Verse does a good job kind of getting that long arm to get him a little bit off balance. But he just has enough to be able to stay in the play and keep it there long enough, make it difficult for Verse to get there. So, once again, I think that ultimately it really does come down to really creating that competent left tackle play that we didn't have last year. That's truly how, I'm kind of looking at it from that standpoint as well. So Jaylon Moore was not obviously the only signing that the Chiefs ended up making. The other one being Kristian Fulton, 2 years, $20 million. And he is coming over from the Los Angeles Chargers. Fulton was somebody out of the 2020 draft that was a highly touted prospect coming off of that 2019 LSU championship team as well. Had an up and down start to his career with some of the injuries as far as the Titans were concerned, some of these mental mistakes as well. Ultimately, went to the Chargers last year and really played with that aggressive mindset that the Chargers defense and Jim Harbaugh really wanted to implement. And it made a lot of sense. And he played pretty well as far as that's concerned. Comfortable in man end zone, comfortable playing up in the wide receivers' grills as far as playing close to the line of scrimmage, more mirroring as far as that's concerned than necessarily playing from depth. I like the signing. I think it makes a lot of sense. And we'll talk a little bit about why I wanted a quarterback so badly. But talk to me about your thoughts as far as Kristian Fulton is concerned.
Remember last year on my Choose Your Offseason, I tried to convince you guys Kristian Fulton could be in Kansas
LSU,
City.
LSU,
I'm,
LSU.
I'm starting.
Now,
I'm starting to think that I'm kind of a savant here.
I really do this,
Me and Brett Veach, we tend to think alike.
No,
Nah,
we run in similar circles.
I think it's a great signing. Well, good signing. I'll say good. Solid. I feel like it's a guy that allows them to be able to get back to what they actually want to do with this defense, especially with the secondary. I think there were times last year where Trent McDuffie spent a little bit too much time on the outside, even though he was still very good at it. I think that they would love to be able to get him back on the inside where Spags can use him as a little bit of more of a chess piece. And I think that this move is ultimately what will lead to getting him back to that position. If Kristian Fulton can come in and hold his end up on the outside. We've seen, how well he played with the Chargers last year. I think you alluded to it, DMac, that he was a pretty comparable piece in their run game as well, too. So willing to come up and do some of the dirty work that they asked him to do. Still a very young player, 26 years old. Again, in that area, right in Veach's wheelhouse where he likes to get some of these guys on some of these, prove it. I'll pay you a little bit, to come here and play kind of deal or whatever and give you a shot and opportunity to, if you play well here to get on the market again and maybe make a bigger deal. So love the signing. Can't wait to see what he can provide for this team. It's nice that they won't have to be so desperate to go in the draft and get a guy to try to come in and learn this defense to start from day one on the outside. So I still think that they probably try to go get another corner as well too. But definitely good to have Kristian Fulton here for the next 2 years at least to see what he can provide for this team. And hopefully this means we get to see all pro slot corner Trent McDuffie again.
Facts. No, I love this move. It gives us our full set of corners again like we had 2 years ago when we had Snead, Jay Watt, and Trent. Obviously, we know how Spags uses Trent McDuffie in his defense. He plays everywhere. He played predominantly slot 2 years ago. He was all pro. Then he came back with another Pro Bowl, then had another dominant season this year when he was an outside corner predominantly. So he's a guy that's proven he's deserving of his money, and we know he's going to have a pretty penny and contract next year in 2026. So now when we have a guy like Kristian Fulton, predominantly outside corner who played really good snaps for the Chargers, we know him a little too well because we see him twice a year. So obviously we know his play and his snaps. A guy that's been in the league for about 4 years now at LSU. He was on that national championship team, if you guys want a reference of what he did in college. About 5'11", 200 pounds. So traditional corner size. Obviously, he's a little bit of a closer to the normal side than we like at corner. Obviously, when you have guys like Jaylon Watson and Josh Williams, how longer and taller those guys are. This is more like on the shorter side compared to them. But overall, Kristian Fulton's a solid corner. He fits our pedigree to this DB room. He fits the standard physicality and tackling. That's one thing that Coach Merritt and Spags love about any DB. They have to go out there. You're going to have to make plays in the open field. So you saw that last year with the Chargers defense. They took a big jump from where they were 2 years ago. Obviously, we know Harbaugh revamped that whole defense, bringing in his coordinators and his guys from Michigan. But I love what the Chargers did last year defensively, playing physical and always playing sound. They had a very detailed defense. They didn't give up many big plays. And Kristian Fulton was one of the bigger parts of that defense that made plays for them. Ironically, he would have an only interception on the play where Rasheed Rice got hurt. That's funny as hell. This is definitely the football guys making fun of us right now. But I'm glad he's here. That moment's over. We're here now. I'm definitely glad to see Trent back in the slot, like DG said. It's not like a full-time thing by means. You'll still see Trent on the outside based on certain matchups with certain receivers at need be, because we know we're still going to have our 3 safety rotation and get that in well, especially with the Jaden Hitch snaps and Jamari Conner snaps going to be increased. But overall, I love this because now we truly have everybody's back in their natural position. You have, obviously, Jay Watt playing outside. Fulton can play outside. You can move Trent inside with certain matchups and certain positions. We have our rotation of our 3 safeties, like I just stated. So it's back to like what we said when J-Watt came back off his injury. Now everyone's in their natural position. Nobody's playing out of their position for this defense. When you have everyone in their natural spot, that makes Coach Merritt, Coach Cullen, Spags, everybody's job 10 times easier because now you don't have to coach outside of yourself and try to get guys to be used to a different position. Now everyone can play their natural position. Now you put Najee back at safety. Then you can put Shamari back at his natural safety position. Jaden Hicks is kind of probably be our roamer and our joker kind of safety who played dime and big nickel. But overall, it puts everyone in a natural position. So now no one's overexerting themselves and having to learn a different position during practice week, during film week. So it just makes everyone's job easier. So I'm excited to see what we're going to do with Kristian Fulton. He's an aggressive corner. I love how he tackles. I love how he plays. Obviously, anyone who knows LSU players are extremely aggressive, guys that really play those balls to the wall. So I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see what he does. I know Coach Merritt and Spags approve of him if they signed him. So I think it's a good signing for us, too. Not great, like DG said, not a crazy expensive move, but for what it was now and how we develop DBs with later picks, which we're still going to get some on our draft board as well, I think it's a great signing for us for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And look,
not seeing Shamari Connor in the slot is –
Hey, respect Shamari.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing that it comes down
man,
to.
Respect Shamari. What the hell?
I respect Shamari Connor
guys.
safety. The biggest thing for me and the reason why I harped so much on getting a veteran corner to add to this room, and I mentioned guys like Kendall Fulton from that standpoint, is and I'm happy that it's Kristian Fulton because Fulton is better than Kendall Fulton at this stage of his career. He plays the way that we want him to within Spags defense. I mean, honestly, he can stand toe to toe with Jaylon Watson and really say if one of these guys is better. But to what CJ is getting at, it moves everything into place in a better place for the secondary. You can have Fulton and Watson outside against 11 personnel sets and move McDuffie inside to the slot where he's excellent from that standpoint and feel great about all 3 of those cornerback positions in that aspect. You can also move Trent around if you want to have him follow somebody. That does free him up to do so because you feel good about those 2 guys on the perimeter. And Fulton can play in the slot if necessary, but he's a perimeter boundary type of guy. That's really where he is. But Shamari Connor, who played far too many snaps in the slot last year, just was too many. He's not a slot guy. He doesn't guard guys man-to-man, particularly wide receivers well from that standpoint. Justin Reed, of course, has moved on to the Saints. We'll talk about that in a minute. Allowing this to be a true 3-safety rotation of him, Cook, and Hicks makes a lot of sense. Cook and Hicks a little bit more within that box physical mold. All 3 of those guys can play the split safety. I think Connor has even more upside as playing a little bit more deep than those other 2 from that standpoint. And we haven't been able to see that because he's been so typecast into the slot role. I want to see him more as a split safety from that standpoint and see what his value can be brought from that aspect. So everything just falls better into place, adding a true boundary corner like Fulton that really brings that value. And I like what he brings to the table. And the one thing that I really wanted to show just really quickly as far as his tape was concerned, a guy that we've seen give us some issues, particularly here in Kansas City, which is Courtland Sutton. Fulton plays with a level of physicality, and this also applies to the run game, which you can check out my Twitter. I put up some clips as far as him in the run. His ability, though, really does show up versus these bigger wide receivers, which I think is key with some of the issues that we've really had as far as being able to play through this contact as well. And you're going to see Kristian Fulton on this end breaker versus Courtland Sutton. And it's sticky coverage. There's nothing available to Bo Nix as far as his throw is concerned. It ends up dirting it from that standpoint because Fulton is right in his hip pocket. And I think that's important. It's important to be able to play with that physicality, play close with these bigger wide receivers that we've had some struggles with, especially down the field. There's a clip also versus him versus Drake London as well, playing extremely well coverage too. So, and playing through the catch point most importantly. So Fulton, I think when you look at what McDuffie brings to the table, more so plays McDuffie into his strengths as well. And then also allows you really to have an answer for those bigger wide receivers that we've had an occasional struggle against from that standpoint too. So I'm happy about it in that aspect. And again, to you guys' point, everything then falls into place from that standpoint. Moving on really quickly, as far as Elijah Mitchell, obviously 1 year, $3.5 million, up to $3.5 million deal here in Kansas City. Explosiveness, vision, being able to see things from that aspect. You guys got anything you want to harp on as far as Elijah Mitchell? Obviously, this doesn't stop you from going out and getting a running back in the draft. I think we all agree. they should still go out and do so. Certainly, as far as this draft being really good in that aspect too. But Elijah Mitchell's speed missed last year due to injury. There are injury concerns that come with him. Hopefully, he's going to be okay and be able to be a contributor to this running back room.
First, I want to say thank you, Elijah Mitchell. You won me a lot of money in my fantasy league in 2021. Appreciate you, bro. Undrafted kid out of Louisiana. Oh no, but as far as like DMac said, the biggest thing I love about Elijah Mitchell's game, outside of the injuries, his vision, incredible vision. Great cutback guy. Obviously, when you play, like I said, in a system like Kyle Shanahan, very similar. You have to have good vision as far as cutback lanes, zone scheme. We know we love to run inside, outside zone here at the Chiefs Kingdom with no. This is a kid that can run it and hit the hole with a proper amount of force, and he does it at a high level. He obviously has a nose for the end zone. Got in the end zone a lot for San Fran. He had a lot more second half snaps, given the fact they were swapping roles with guys like Raheem Mostert. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's been there the last 2 years. Jeff Wilson. They had a rotation of running backs, but every time he came in the game, he made a big play of either getting a first down or either scoring a touchdown. So he has a nose for scoring in the end zone. So I think essentially, fellas, he could be the Kareem Hunt replacement. Not necessarily like obviously we're not going to give him that much of a workload given the injury history. But when we need to get inside the 10, inside the 5, and we need somebody to finish a play inside the red zone, hit their head on the goalpost, he can do that at a high level. Obviously, he, like I said, great cutback ability, great vision. He can catch the ball as well. He's not just a one-to-one set kind of running back. So I love the value for it because obviously he's been a good back in San Fran. I know a lot of San Fran fans wanted him back, but the injury history was just too much. So pray to God that he can stay on the field. That's the biggest question mark with him. But ability-wise, he fits his offense to a T. He runs with power, runs with endurance. Now the biggest thing is just seeing, can he do that for a full – what's the over-under on games you think he plays? 12 would be great because I think on his career he's averaged between 12 –
If he hits double digits, I'll be over the moon.
Yeah, he's played 11.
But ultimate
season, so.
I think Samaje Perine had like – I don't know what the number was. It wasn't a lot of touches that Samaje Perine ended up having.
Yeah, it was.
If he could be healthy for the Samaje Perine snaps, that's fine. And again, he's not as good as pass protector as Samaje Perine. Don't get that mistaken.
Sure.
But he does have the receiving ability, and I think that's important to highlight as well. Did you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think it's a solid signing. I think it provides a nice little one, I guess you could say a 1-2 punch between him and Pop. Brings a little bit of explosion to this offense as well too. He can be a guy that, can maybe at points in times be that home run hitter you need to, to get through a hole and and take one to the house for you. Yeah, the main concern is just his health at this point. If he can play at least half the season,
11 games, 40. That's his high.
Yeah, we can at least do that. Just get through half the season. Be a comparable piece for us or whatever. Like CJ said, definitely has a nose for the end zone. Love what he can do in the receiving game as well too. I think Andy is gonna love having this guy in his backfield. Kind of to me, in my opinion, he's what Andy Reid wants in a running back to be able to do, to have all the tools and assets. So glad he's getting a chance here to kind of come in and prove, see what he can do. Another guy that I feel like, Bravich and them went a little bit younger on this year or whatever, was really surprised to see that they got that deal, done pretty much on the first couple of hours of legal tampering. So it goes to show that they were very interested in him from the beginning. So, yeah, definitely love to see what he can do here. I'm excited, man. And hopefully he comes there, has a lot of success.
Hopefully that year off gave him a good rest. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hope so, and we never know as far as that's concerned. It was a hamstring injury for him that ultimately kept him out the entire season. So you're not talking about an ACL, or you're not talking about an ACL or Achilles or a patella of that nature. So hopefully it does end up working out from that standpoint. You get some good, snaps from him. The one thing that I do like to say from this standpoint, though, is ideally he's not getting a lot of snaps because, again, hopefully they can get a good running back in the draft that really hopefully, you ideally at least really provide that 1-2 punch with Pacheco, or even takes over the room as far as the starter is concerned. And we'll see what ends up happening as far as the draft in that aspect. And really quickly, because Elijah Moore did come from the Niners, no, I don't think they trade Purdy. I think they're preparing to pay Purdy. And it's not necessarily rebuild. They're more so retooling and getting rid of those old contracts and old guys that continue to get hurt. So they're a smart front office. I think they'll be fine from that standpoint. But yeah, I think they're preparing to go ahead and pay Purdy.
As they should.
Yes. Well, it depends on how much.
They've been playing Russian roulette with a quarterback for a lot of years. So you thought the Trey Lance was going to work?
Is Purdy really the guy you want to land on?
I mean, it's just, do you want to keep playing that game?
Well, the quarterback market is all over the place. Geno Smith going to round pick to the Raiders.
Like, what you going to get?
Sam Darnold getting $100 million.
You dig what I'm saying? See, so I'm like,
hey, shout out to the Jets. I really like Justin Field for $20 million.
That's amazing.
I like
Breece Hall, yes, absolutely.
Put him with Breece. Put him with Gary Wilson, his college teammate. You know, they got some offensive line pieces out of mind.
Aaron Glenn about to be doing boots and nakeds all game, baby. Justin, get on the edge.
Boots and nakeds, baby.
All game, baby. Don't let me be the OC. Justin running that bit.
I do want to hit on these really quickly. Tershawn Wharton, a lot of money for the Panthers, man. In one respect, sad to see him go, but on another respect, happy to see that man get generational wealth. Well earned it. Come back from the ACL injury after being a UDFA, fought tooth and nail to get snaps, and this year had a breakout year. Played extremely important snaps for us this year, just through and through on a defensive line that we needed some juice. He provided that early on. Fell off a little bit in the middle of the season, then got it together. Plays bigger than he is, and shout out to him. And I think actually I like the fit for him in that Panthers scheme next to Brown from that standpoint. So shout out to him, well deserved. And again, an example of defensive line thin. Chiefs need to address that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Other signing was Justin Reed going to New Orleans Saints, ultimately moving on, which we all saw coming, in my opinion, a year ago. The contract was either designed to be cut short, this year or a year prior, or having expired this year. And ultimately played well enough here. Obviously won the back-to-back championships, and we're appreciative for his contributions. A really smart player, smart safety. Lost something as far as athleticism. Ended up moving on to the New Orleans Chiefs at this point because they got basically half their roster from
Kansas City Saints, baby.
Both those guys moved on. I don't think there's any too many surprises. Like I expected Warden to get a bag. I expected Justin Reed to move on from that standpoint. And again, I feel good about the safety room behind Justin Reed now in that aspect too. Shamar Connor, Brian Cook, and obviously going to sophomore season, Jane Hicks. Let's go here from this standpoint. So before we get to kind of, the wrap up and then also kind of possible second or third Raven free agency targets, we do have to talk about the fact that the Chiefs have to be cap compliant tomorrow. I think around 4 p.m. I think is ultimately when the new
Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the new league year starts. And the thing that I just wanted to show real quick, like the Chiefs are in a weird spot necessarily from the aspect of they have the mechanism necessary to make these things happen fairly quickly. And I already put these on the screen, but these two major ones right here. Restructuring Patrick Mahomes can get you up to, $40 million roughly. Chris Jones restructure can get up to $20 million. Patrick Mahomes' contract is designed to do that. Whether they do the full $38 million, we'll see if it ends up happening. Maybe they take less than that. We'll see. Sometimes they take less. Chris Jones, he's been playing like Chris Jones, so you're perfectly fine restructuring his deal as well. And ultimately, you do both of these, and I'll just do them real quickly so you guys can see them as well. The Chiefs right now stand about $19 million over the cap, and then obviously just those two moves get you $40 million in cap space. Now, again, that's if you take the full Mahomes. Maybe they take a little bit less. They don't need all that cap space, but we'll see from that standpoint how they want to go. The other thing, of course, the big one is Trey Smith getting his contract extension. Obviously, his cap hit is currently in that $23 million range. Where that APY ends up landing, whether it's 23, whether it's a little bit less than 22, where he resets the market, whether it somehow goes up to 24, either way, he is going to be able to lessen that cap hit, and that would also save them a little bit of space that could be coming down the line from that standpoint too. So, don't freak out about the number being what it is right now. Don't let anybody lie to you about the Chiefs cap space because the Chiefs cap space is in a really good place as far as it's concerned right now. I should say really good. It's in a good place. It's in a healthy place where a contending team
restructure seats.
Make really clear. They're really clear. And they'll be cap compliant tomorrow from that standpoint. DG, why are you making that face?
Because I'm just like, for people who question it, like,
This is their job.
do you think they would make all these moves if they didn't know?
And
they don't do the calculation.
That's the one thing for me that when I was concerned about today, and I tweeted out earlier today about, hey, this would be a great day to get a veteran cornerback or veteran DT, bring a Minihu back. I was concerned today that it would have just been announcing the moves of how they were going to clear the cap space. And I would have been concerned if that was all it was, then maybe they were really just up against it and couldn't do anything else as far as free agency. The Kristian Fulton signing, made me confident that they are comfortable with where the cap space is to make such a signing, and still being, aggressive as far as free agency is concerned. So that was a really good sign from that aspect. And so, yeah, I think they're going to be fine as far as the cap is concerned. And we'll see the restructure of Mahomes. I expect to see a restructure of Chris Jones, and maybe we do see the Trey Smith negotiation land on an extension in the short term. For those that will ask, no, you will not see Jawan Taylor's money moved around. They are maintaining flexibility to get out of that contract if they so choose at the end of next season as well. I don't want to check to make sure. So, hey, Kirk talked about Justin Reed moving on. Doesn't trust Cook, kind of over the top.
You trusted.
I don't know why you would trust Justin Reed.
Hey, Kurt, I ain't gonna lie. You alone on this island, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
I understand the concern because I don't think that Cook or Connor are necessarily true free safeties, but Justin Reed is the antithesis of a free safety. So I don't know why that necessarily would be your concern.
If it's between those three playing free, I'm trusting those two guys who are more athletic than Justin, because Justin was an in-the-box safety. So what does he mean by this comment?
Yeah. So that's the only thing I wanted to point out from that standpoint.
Love Justin Reed, man.
But he don't play over the top neither, buddy.
Playing him over the top is not a good idea.
Brian Cook does that way better than him, respectfully.
So we'll hit some really quick guys that ended up going. And this is that one comment. He said, talking about DeAndre Hopkins.
This is a
It would have been all right if he came back. Ultimately, and I tweeted this out, there was a nugget about Danny Parkins on the Athletics live stream said that he wasn't running necessarily the correct routes on a consistent basis, maybe a little bit of a lack of attention to detail as well within Kansas City. It didn't seem like the Chiefs were keen on bringing him back, and that's ultimately what I think it came down to. He signs a $6 million deal for the Ravens. Maybe he can give them something as well. Again, I think he'll probably be a serviceable depth wide receiver, but just not the one that I would have brought back. And obviously the one that I want to choose to bring back is Juju is still out there as well.
Juju.
Justin Watson side with the Texans. I don't think anybody needs to say anything about that. Winchester's back, so we have a long snapper. Tanyan, obviously, I think is a good thing to have at the very least as a camp body, tight end. Huh?
You don't disrespect white Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, yeah.
White Randy Moss.
Shout out to third and Justin Watson, man. Usually it would be twice a game, and then he would disappear the next game, or it'd be like once every 3 weeks where he would just sit down on a third down and just Mahomes would find him. And that's useful. That is useful for a depth wide receiver, a guy that also brought special teams value. Shout out to Justin Watson for that as well. Like I said, Winchester's back to long snap. Tanyan, good body to have. Tight end for at the camp body at the very least. In the Irv Smith Jr. thing. Obviously, with Jerry Wiley still coming back from that ACL injury, fine to keep him within the fold. Mike Eliendo ended up getting tendered. I expect him probably to end up coming back as well. Depth into your offensive line piece from that standpoint as well. I don't think there's anything. You guys have anything to add as far as those guys are concerned? No, I don't think so.
Shout out to all them guys, man.
Shout out D-Hop. Appreciate you cash me on the Super Bowl gang. Appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely shout out to D-Hop, man.
We tried to make it work, gang.
In Baltimore, we tried to make it work, but ultimately it is what it is. I think it was kind of a tough position to kind of put him in to come in middle of the season, try to learn this playbook.
It's a lot. It's a lot, man. You see how much of an impact Juju had after not playing for a month. And the Bills game had 80 yards like that out of nowhere. And they're like, man, why can't D-Hop do that? This is a very intricate and very detail-oriented offense to learn, and we can see the impact that Juju's had on his offense. So definitely want to bring him back for sure.
Yes. So obviously this doesn't necessarily reflect the fact that Justin Reed has moved on. DeAndre Hopkins has a rumored deal. Nick Bolton is coming back. But of the guys that are still out here as far as the pending free agent list, I am prioritizing Charles Omenihu, Juju Smith-Schuster. Minihue sounds like his market is not developing in the way in which a Minihue may
Charles,
have
come on
wanted,
down.
which is kind of what happens when you don't play a full season worth of football games. So ultimately, if he comes back for another 1 year prove a deal, I think that'll be great value. Again, I still really like what he brings to the table as far as an edge is concerned here. And I'd like to get a full season out of him, certainly from that standpoint. The other guy, well, I'll let you guys say. Anybody outside of Minihue or Juju that you feel like really needs to be prioritized here?
Prioritize not necessarily. I could see them. I mean, I can see them again going back to the table with Nandi again, bringing him back.
Mike Fidel for sure. He played good ball for us.
Yeah, both of those guys.
Fidel or Nadia.
They've been in here and they know the system or whatever, so I don't think those would be like really difficult deals for them to get done. Nobody else. I mean, maybe if you want to bring back Humphreys to
Add depth, yeah.
Add depth and compete at that left tackle position. I think that's still just Jaylon Moore's job to lose at this point. Yeah, nobody. And I'm like, whew, they gotta really pound the table.
The only one I'm really proud about is just Charles. Knows the system, clear paths to success with Turk being gone, so a lot more snaps. No limit of snap count this year, but no suspension or injury coming into the season. So it makes too much sense for him not to be here. You go into your 28 season, you can come out all out, get another year to hit the market next year.
Back with us.
Come on, Charles. It makes too much sense, man. You love it here. I know you love playing for Coach Cullen. I know him and Chris have the ultimate respect for each other. So him and Juju are the two for me. And the third one, Winchester's already resigned, obviously. So yeah, the next one will be Mike Pennell. Those will probably be those ones will probably be the four for me. So I definitely want to get younger at the defensive tackle position. So, but bringing back a guy like Mike Pennell is invaluable. We see how he played in big moments in the Super Bowl. So I would love to have him back.
Yeah. I think you guys certainly highlight as far as the defensive line depth that is missing right now as far as the team is concerned. I'd probably prefer to bring back one of Nadi or Pennell, but either one, if you bring back both, it is what it is at this point. I agree with you though, and that was the other thing I wanted to harp on as we transitioned into some of the targets that we have left on the free agency board. DJ Humphreys is one of the tackles that I would still say you can bring in for cheap. And again, that's more so as you get down the line of one of these guys that's left over. I still think obviously you gave him more of the money that would note that he is probably the starter. I wouldn't say that etches in stone as far as the starter, but he's probably the starter. But I still think that there's room to add a veteran tackle still on this team for dirt cheap to come in and be a depth guy after they realize that they're not going to be a chance to really compete anywhere else to play tackle as well. And DJ Humphreys makes sense because he's played on the left and right side in his career too.
Good list.
Yes, we will get to here as far as the guys that are left over. And this is, a somewhat updated list. Obviously, we have gone through a bit as far as free agency is concerned. So here's what I wanted to do just as an exercise. As you look at the roster right now, where do you guys think we could stand to add, some free agencies? Like what position would you say, let's go out and target that in the second and third waves of free agency right now?
Defensive line.
Defensive line, probably linebacker as well too.
Defensive line.
Well, we'll start with defensive line. I assume you mean more so defensive tackle, given the fact that we still want Minihue back kind of as the primary target, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's look at kind of the pending free or the current free agents, I should say, as far as defensive line is concerned, and you kind of tell me if any of these guys kind of stand out to you as we go down it.
Tillery to me is an interesting piece, and I don't know how to say his name, but Levi
Onwuzurike.
Yeah.
Onwuzurike definitely stands out. Somebody that gave Detroit some pretty good snaps last year as well. Another guy, Jordan Phillips, which again is more so in that Mike Pennell kind of aspect of being able to kind of one gap. I like it from that standpoint. Don't you dare talk to me about this person.
Fat Dickerson.
And then after that, it kind of gets pretty slim pickings. But definitely Tillery and definitely Onwuzurike would be the next two guys as well.
I don't hate Raekwon Davis. Not a terrible option, but he's in that Charles Minihue, Larry Ogunjobi section for me. So it's either Charles or I wouldn't. What was his name again, DG? How you say it again? I'm looking at him.
Ricky.
Ricky?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at it. I remember him. A lot of these other guys just they don't match our time with
his body. He's got.
These are just rotational guys. Like Charles, come on back, bro. I'm not trying to do this, bro. Like, nah.
Well, that's the thing.
Jerry Tillery, like we wanted Jerry Hughes 3 years ago. Come on, bro. This is nasty, bro. This is a nasty.
I would prefer to get Charles. I think it's a little bit independent from the standpoint. I would prefer to get Charles Omenihu back. I would like to bring one of Nandi and Pindell back and then add another guy really from the outside as far as the defense tackle. Just to feel good because, again, in the sense that you go into what we saw kind of, I think, at corner, which you saw from bringing Bolton back, from left tackle, obviously more, and Elijah Mitchell, it's kind of are you competent enough to go out and roll the ball out before you get to the draft? And I think that you need bodies from that standpoint. I think that Omenihu maybe is a little bit of a question mark as far as that's concerned, if he comes back or not, and if you can add a body back to the edge. But I think right now you need two bodies in the defensive tackle room, next to Chris Jones, obviously, to be like, okay, we're okay going into the draft from this standpoint, even though you need to draft one of these guys early as far as my priorities are concerned. Yes, I will. It's going to be bad.
This list is nasty, bro.
I hope this doesn't happen under any circumstances. I agree. But how do you guys feel about that? As far as if we sign one defensive tackle, let's say we sign Charles Omenihu and one defensive tackle in between now and the draft, like how do you guys feel about that standpoint?
I'll be much better. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Bring a guy back who has versatility to play inside, outside, and Charles. Another D tackle for depth. And as far as that T tackle for depth, I wouldn't hate Maurice Hurst. Wouldn't be a bad option. That's not a lot of pretty names. Like I said, Raekwon Davis is probably the only guy that's makes sense. Not a lot of good names. Anybody for depth that they feel. At this point, just bring back Mike Pennell if that's the case. Then somebody knows the system, knows Coach Cullen, knows what to do. Charles and obviously Mike Pennell would be my guess. If we're not going to do that, I don't mind Maurice Hurst, Khalil Davis out of San Fran. Yeah, this is a very bad list of D tackles.
Yeah, I feel like they'll add depth at this position. I think regardless of what's going to happen. Like I said, my two guys are probably Tillery and those Ricky, just because they fit the age range of where
age range
like to give guys contracts, especially on prove it kind of deals.
That's why on Davis, he's 27. So
yeah. So I don't mind them bringing in. I'm not looking for these guys to be like world beaters or anything like that.
These are all rotational guys.
Yeah, just come in and do your job and be a nice serviceable piece for us. So.
Yeah, and I just feel like you need multiple bodies right now in that defensive tackle room. And Charles, I still view more so mainly as an edge because I think that's where he's best at, even though he obviously can play inside. So I think if you bring Charles back, and ideally if you bring one of Pennell or Nani back and then add one of these outside guys, again, Pickens or Slim, then I feel good about the defensive line room. And that's the major area of attack, defensive line in general, obviously, but more specifically defensive tackle that needs right now. You said linebacker. Hey, this is going to be filled with a boatload of some guys that don't matter. Two guys at the top here that are completely washed. Some people have said Zadarius Smith, as far as the edge is concerned. I mean, he's Spagsy, and he gave you some of these solid snaps, but they haven't chased a lot of those veteran guys as far as that's concerned. Guy down here who underneath a guy that unfortunately never got used here and would never be used by Spags. But Willie Gay Jr., I'd still be perfectly fine bringing in Willie Gay Jr. Back to Kansas City to play basically the same role he did 2 years ago as that athletic move-around linebacker as well. And I know that, people would be like, well, Nick Bolton just got re-signed. It's fine. You can have, Willie Gay for a very tiny amount as far as that's concerned. Then the other guy I just monitor, and I'm not saying you have to go out and get him, but just monitor. If you don't want to bring back Willie Gay, is Isaiah Simmons, and just see what the price tag as far as that's concerned. Extremely athletic, early high pick, has a
he can fill the Willie Gay
safe. Sure. Yeah, he's big safety, athletic linebacker. I thought he actually gave the Giants some solid snaps when he went over there. I think that Spags could get something out of him as a depth linebacker ultimately here too. So those would be the two guys immediately that come to mind.
Hometown kids too.
Come to the crib, man. Stop playing.
There's nobody really outside of him that stands out. You see anybody, DG?
Terrell Dotson would be a guy that I'd probably be interested in as well too. Can kind of play that Willie Gay role as well too. And is in that age range of what Red Reed's like. So, but yeah, that's pretty much.
Everybody else on this list is old.
Yeah, everybody else on this list is old or a pass rusher that you don't want at this point.
Yeah. So linebacker, obviously defensive line. What's the third group that you guys say we could probably go and attack as far as some outside free agent help right now in the second and third wave?
Always another DB.
Yeah. Whether that be another safety or another corner.
Always DB depth.
Yeah, I think that's a spot that you could possibly go out there and get another guy. Julian Blackman would be a guy that I'd be interested in. Younger guy, kind of free range. I feel like safety that could play in his defense. I'm trying to see the rest of these guys too. If Justin Simmons was about 5 years younger, I'd be definitely interested.
Most of these guys I like him.
I mean, I'd still bring him in, but he costs too much ultimately.
Mike Evers, you want to come back, gang? You know what I mean?
Mike Evers, I'd be definitely still interested in.
Mike Evers.
Keep going down.
John Johnson, no, I don't love that one. I don't love him.
Yeah, the rest of these guys on this list.
If Quandre Diggs was 3 years younger, Jesus,
right?
Just had to
maybe
3 years younger. That's a great.
Maybe a guy like Jordan Fuller wouldn't mind kicking the tires on if it was like a prove it kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of these guys I'm not too interested in. Blackman I would be definitely interested in though.
No, yeah, I like Julian Blackman. He plays good ball. Justin Simmons really 31? Dang, you old as hell.
Yeah. He got old fast, it feels like.
That's what I'm saying. Blew by, dang.
I think that's what just happens when you go to the Falcons, when you go to the loser organization. You get old fast. I know you still want Elijah Moore.
I like Elijah.
DG, any of these wide receivers stand out to you?
Not too many guys.
Not too many guys. Juju, be my main guy that I'll probably try to target. KJ Osborne, I may be interested in as a fifth option.
I'll ask you this way: any of these guys that you would pick over Juju?
No.
No.
We're on the same page as far as that's concerned. Yeah. People are gonna say Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper is gonna still get a solid deal from somewhere else.
Yeah, he's gonna be too expensive.
Ultimately, from that,
they did love Deontay. I don't know why, but they did want him here. So I mean, that would be a wild card. But
are we sure that they wanted him, or did people just say that Deontay wanted us?
He wanted us. It's like that girl you want in school. You like, hey man, she liked me. No, you just like her. She don't like you, bro.
Right.
So we mentioned DJ Humphries obviously as a later tackle option. I don't think they're going to end up having. Yeah, they're not going to have. Donovan Smith obviously is not on this because he didn't play last year. Again, also in that group for me. Jedrick Wills because of the age and the ability we've seen him play well. Earlier in his career, early in the group. I would still, if Tyron Smith wants to come in and be a depth tackle, I would still be fine with that as well. So those are kind of the names that I would throw out there as guys that still can be added as far as vet tackles are concerned.
No, Amari.
Charles does not want Amari Cooper.
I'm with him. I don't want Amari neither. I'm cool.
According to Nate Taylor, we should be looking at Gardner Minshew.
I was just about to say. So let's go to the quarterback, and so apparently, oh God, it's going to take me a second to get down. Oh wait, where is he? Jesus, was he already here? Maybe he's not on. Is he not a free?
He's that bad.
Man, give me Jameis Winston.
No, he got a contract last year, right?
Man, give me Jameis.
He had a contract last year. I don't know why he's not showing up, but Gardner Minshew, according to Nate Taylor, is somebody that Chiefs fans should be watching tape on. So obviously that may be
nobody want him.
Quarterback 2 type of guy. Anybody on this list other than Jameis Winston, who I think we all agree would be great.
Taylor Heineke, I'm fine with.
I'm good. I don't want Taylor Heineke.
Drew Lock, I wouldn't be mad at.
Absolutely not.
I mean, as a backup, I would.
I think
Nope.
he's fine as a backup.
Nope.
What? He did
I don't
solid
know.
in Seattle.
Jameis.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no, I
wouldn't be
like.
buying it.
I think we all
Jameis.
prefer Jameis first and foremost for sure.
So hold on. You telling me you'd rather have Mr. 30 for 30
Yep.
over
Yep.
Josh Dobbs?
But that's a lot of vibes as far as it. No, but
Dobbs
I also
already
think
got
Jameis is a better quarterback from that
Especially for a
standpoint.
one-game scenario, give me Jameis. For a one-game scenario, yes.
I
I don't hate Drew Lock. I just don't love him.
I'm good on Josh Dobbs.
Dobbs is a no.
You don't have to worry about Dobbs. Is already
Dobbs already got signed anyway. Yeah, he already got signed.
You know something? I did not hate what I saw from Mac Jones last year.
God.
But you better get shot.
Yeah. God.
And I am the biggest anti-Mac Jones person you ever find. I did not hate what I saw from Mac Jones last year. I'm not gonna lie.
Y'all call me crazy.
Yeah, Heineke, Lock. I wouldn't mind Winston.
I like it to be
Carson
Winston.
Wentz
If
could
not
come back.
Winston, it would be Lock for me. None of these other guys are really interesting as far as that's concerned.
Teddy Two Gloves,
He better go back to coaching.
right?
He ain't trying to sit in the cold on the sideline.
But
Yeah.
He ain't about to do that.
yeah.
It's either Jameis or Carson for me. Them the two, and then whatever happens after that. Gardner Minshew was at Jesus Christ. I'd rather one of us go out there. We got to depend on Gardner Minshew. Lord Jesus.
Okay. So, and the last thing that I wanted to do real quick, I don't know how I did that. Anything as far as free agency that you guys want to hit on real quick before we get to a mock draft to kind of end this off? Because obviously we saw a lot of moves. We saw Seahawks trade, like we said, Geno Smith, third round pick to the Raiders. We saw the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf for a second round pick, give him that $30 million to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw Justin Fields obviously go to the Jets. The Bills gave Joshua Palmer $13 million a year.
It's a good pickup as long as he stay healthy.
Great pickup, but definitely
he been hurt, but yeah, it is a lot of money.
It's just a lot of money.
3 for 30. The money is crazy. He's a good player, but that's a lot of bread. Yeah.
good for him.
Yeah, hopefully he stay on the field. I mean, you playing in LA getting hurt to playing in the cold. Oof.
Yeah. We've seen the Bengals bring some people back. We've seen the Ravens obviously add DeAndre Hopkins.
You can pay all those other people, Bengals, but you can't.
Baker.
The ones that need to.
Who's the one that needs to get paid?
We saw Najee Harris sign for 1 year up to $9 million with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Should have kept J.K. Dobbins.
He's not a good running back, so I don't care that much about that. Devontae Adams to the Rams, which I thought was a solid move for them.
Yeah.
The Bucks got
Very
Godwin back.
I was a little
Also,
jealous of that pick. That play.
Very, very. I'm glad he didn't go to Houston or Buffalo. That was my biggest fear. I was like, don't go there.
Yeah, that would have been
Stay in
annoying
the
for sure.
NFC,
That's what I'm saying. Stay in the NFC. I'm cool with it.
De'Ami Brown went to the Jag for 1 year, $10 million. One of the guys that I would have been targeting as far as wide receiver was concerned. I think that's a solid pickup for them. Mike Gesicki went back. We saw the Ravens obviously extended Ronnie Stanley and Larry Johnson stayed with the Rams. We talked about Dan Moore. Morgan Moses ended up getting a solid deal from the Patriots because they, were left without a tackle option from that standpoint. One sneaky aspect of this that I did want to hit on. Will Fry signed with the Minnesota Vikings 5 years, $88 million this morning. And Aaron Banks signed with the Packers 4 years, $77 million as well. Those two were really the guards in free agency that were going to get paid. And none of them kind of topped what Dickerson ended up getting. Hopefully that means that Trey Smith and their agents and obviously Brett Veach can say, hey, we know what the market's going to look like. There's nothing to really wait on as far as that's concerned. Let's go ahead and move it forward in that aspect.
Get that
get that extension done. Chase Young went back to the Saints for 3 years, $51 million. We talked about Joey Bosa going to the Bills for $12 million as well. Josh Sweat to the Cardinals, Hassan Reddick to the Bucks, which was crazy because that happened like immediately at the start of free agency.
They wanted Hassan for sure.
They wanted Hassan badly. Interior defensive line, Milton Williams, the headliner, 4 years, $104 million to steal him away from the Panthers. That's a lot for a pop-turn player, but shout out to the Patriots. They kind of need that penetrator as well. Jonathan Allen got released by the Commanders, went to the Vikings for $20 million a year. BJ Hill staying with the Bengals. Grady Jarrett got released and went to the Bears. Just trying to see if there's anybody else that really is worth. Ken Law signing that 3 years, $45 million with the Commanders. I did not like that from the Commanders. But the Commanders made a really good move, and I know some people will say they might be a little bit of overpay. Larry Tunsil's still a really good tackle in this league. To have him play that left tackle position, kick Coleman inside now, who played left tackle for them last year. He'll play guard. I think that'll be an upgrade for their offensive line. So good move for them. And for the people that will say it, why didn't the Chiefs?
They weren't talking to us.
Why didn't the Chiefs trade for him? They were never going to trade for us. And if they did, it was going to come with a significant tax to make that happen as well. Linebacker, Robert Spillane to the Patriots. Jeremy Sherwood got the Nick Bolton deal to re-sign with the Jets, and Nick Bolton's better than Sherwood, so I'm fine with that. Ernest Jones re-signed with the Seahawks, 3 years, $33 million. That's a solid deal for them. I will say the Broncos made a pair of really good moves. Hufanga for 3 years, up to $45 million, probably a little bit more expensive than I would have loved. But again, adding him to that defense is going to be an annoying thing to play against when he's on the field. And they also added Dre Greenlaw, which qualifies the same as well. DJ Reed, 3 years, $48 million to the Lions. Javarius Ward, shout out to Javarius Ward, got it back from the Colts, 3 years, up to $60 million. Colin Davis to the Patriots. I don't think there's any of these other guys, obviously, that we need to mention. And then the big headliner is safety. In addition, obviously, Reed, Hufanga, Cam Byron to the Colts, and then Javon Holland, 3 years, $45 million to the Giants. And that's pretty much it as far as the offseason moves are concerned to this point, with the new league year set to start, obviously tomorrow as far as that's concerned. Anything that I missed in you guys' question mark? No.
Got all the big ones.
I think we're quick question. Anybody in the AFC gotten better or concerned you as far as moves are concerned?
Nope.
Ravens, Bills, Bengals, no.
Texans got worse, low key.
It's tougher than the Texans in the way they.
I mean, I
don't know what the Texans. I'm praying for CJ Stroud, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. They couldn't block last year. You just moved off two linemen. I don't know what the goal is.
Which there's arguments. Kenyon Green gone. That's addition by subtraction. They didn't like the attitude, I guess, of lemon. Whatever. I'm praying for him. I'm praying for him. I don't know what they're going to end up doing as far as offensive line is concerned.
Me neither.
Praying for CJ Stroud.
Boy. He didn't have an attitude when he was out there blocking.
Jeez.
Clearly.
You need somebody to block for the
man. You gonna go out there and do it?
Right. Yes.
Outside of
better than us. So.
That's why I said good luck to you, buddy.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think anybody.
Well, I want the Broncos got better on defense. I'll say that. They had
the Broncos definitely. Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Did they end up getting the Evan Ingram deal done? Did that deal get done?
No, he went.
No, he's still out there.
In the Chargers now.
Oh, he's just making his rounds. Okay.
That solid deal for the Broncos on defense. But other than that, I mean,
nothing else really crazy.
Nothing really. It's a lot of re-signings and extensions because this wasn't a great free agency period as well from that standpoint.
Yep.
A lot of guys just keeping the same people as well. I would be remiss. The Chargers end up signing back Khalil Mack for a 1 year, $18 million deal after releasing Joey Bosa as well. All that being said, obviously we're going to go ahead and end this off with a nice mock draft, and we'll kind of talk through as far as the needs are concerned. Hey man, this is not for long league for a reason, man. You talk all you want to, but that ain't gonna save you from the business. Let me see what I'm playing. We're going to talk through some of the needs. Obviously, as it currently stands for the Kansas City Chiefs, again, I think Brett Reeds has done a solid job within the first wave of free agency, being able to address some kind of big needs and being able to set up the ability for the Chiefs to move forward and not feel pressured to go any specific way as far as the draft is concerned. There we go. Oh, or am I lagging? It's going to take a second. There it is. All right. There we go. We're going to go ahead and roll through it. A nice little mock draft here. to end out the stream as well. So how do you guys feel as far as the team is concerned and its needs in the first round? Like, how are you guys feeling now that we've gotten through the first wave of free agency?
I'm still on the Stewart Nolan train. If Luther falls at 31, I'm taking him. But pretty much, I know like the whole left tackle plan we had is pretty much botched now. So that's kind of like where my headspace is now. Top edge on our board that we had personally. But if Luther falls at 31, I'm pulling the card in, not hesitating.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards now. You got to go defensive tackle, especially in the first round. I think you got to find that guy to replace Chris Jones in his career.
Kenneth Grant, come on down.
Nolan.
The other thing what'd you say, DJ?
Go ahead.
I was just naming guys. Nolan, Grant. I'm good with Walker. Any one of those guys.
That's an insane trade.
Jesus Lord. To move back one spot.
Yeah, that's a crazy trade.
Well, I do that.
I was going to say something. I can't remember what I was going to say. I still think that they're in a good spot. I think they need to bring back defensive tackle bodies and obviously add another, ideally bringing them in here back. And I still think that defensive tackle should be the first one off the board here. But the thing I really wanted to emphasize was that they have done a good job at putting themselves in position to have the flexibility to go BPA across the board. They don't have to force themselves into a tackle in the first round. They don't have to force themselves into a defensive line pick, even though ideally it would be that. They don't have to force themselves into safety or corner, into your offensive line, wide receiver, etc. They don't have to go anywhere. They could just take the best player on the board. And there's also a little bit of news. This doesn't represent the accurate number of picks in which the Chiefs have. They got an extra 7th-round pick and then an additional 7th-round pick that would be the Mr. Irrelevant pick. So not only do they have obviously 3 or 4 picks, I should say, in the top 100, obviously the 2 third-round picks, 66 and 95, the 4th-round pick in 132, and the 256 7th-rounder. They now have the Mr. Irrelevant 7th-round pick and an additional 7th-round pick to play along with as far as Brett Veach is concerned. So outdated, but we'll go ahead and finish it up here, and then we'll move forward from that standpoint. So along those lines, let's talk about this. Malachi Starks would be a guy that I would have a true first-round grade on.
Same.
And he plays safety in the way in which would fit into this room that would make sense. He can play that deep safety if needed. He obviously is very good as a split safety. He plays it differently than Nick from that standpoint. Nick is a little bit more of a box guy, plays with physicality. No, I don't think. No, I don't think Malachi. I don't think Malachi is going to be here at 31. But I wanted to just say it because it's an demonstrative of what, being able to take best play available is available to you as well. Along those lines, if you want a weapon, I think that Golden makes sense. I would prefer Ibuka personally, just for the fit of what we currently have.
Offense, yeah, I would. Yeah, we already have
because Ibuka has everything that you need as far as being able to be that solid route runner, catching the ball on a consistent basis. And I like him from that standpoint a little bit more than Golden for us as far as fit, even though obviously Golden played very well for the Texas. And then obviously Omarion Hampton. For me, first round's a little bit rich. He's going to be shooting up a lot of these draft boards into the first round. I would not go running back in the first round as well.
It's like, been there, done that.
We did that already.
Yes, don't need to do it again. So I guess Buka's the best one as far as wide receivers concerned. We'll take a quick peek at the tackles. Ursary would be the only one that I consider here, and given the other people on the table, I probably would not go that route. But he is somebody in the second round that you certainly could explore. Defensive line group. I'm not the biggest fan of Darius Alexander this high. Tariq Williams, again, a little bit more of the run stuffing type, so I would not necessarily go that way. Is not really a guy that I really consider at 31. These guys further down the board, though, I would like to still bring in. Edge. Nobody that really catches my eye. As far as 31 is concerned, DJ, anybody that catches your eye as far as 31?
At Edge? No, not really, because I feel like all those guys are second round guys. Day two guys. I really like Josiah Stewart, but I feel like he's a day 2 guy that you could probably still, day 2 or day 3.
And we'll take a look here.
Corner.
In corner.
I love
none of
Darren
these
Porter.
guys
It's
are.
just so early.
Yeah, 31 for Darian Porter. I can't get that.
Morrison and Amos are pretty intriguing to me. But
I was gonna
it's
say
not.
Amos would be closer, but again,
It's just so early.
not probably gonna get there as well.
A lot of these guys I'm cool with is just not here.
Yeah. I like special too, but I'm not taking them that early. We did tackle, we did running back, wide receiver. There's one position that for some reason I'm just blanking on that I want to check tight end. The only guy would be Loveland. Realistically, they'd be there at 31.
He's gone.
It's early for Mason Taylor from that standpoint, so I wouldn't necessarily go that route either. So all things considered, for me, it's between Ibuka and Starks, and I think we kind of agree that Starks isn't going to be there in any circumstances.
I'm going Starks. That's the board.
Donovan Jackson, Ursary, or Stark or Ibuka. Which way are you guys going?
It's probably Ibuka for me. I don't think you could ever have enough weapons for Patrick Mahomes.
If you love Emeka, take him. If not, yeah. I like Emeka, but I don't know if they love him like that. But this was a Luther spot for me. But if I go Starks, man, you can't pass up on that kind of talent right here. Never thought he'd even be available.
I just said Ibuka because I don't think Starks will be there at 31.
Yeah, he's not be here, but
if he's there, go for it.
If he's there, take him. Shit, boy.
You know what? The way these things.
Him and Jaylon for the next one.
This is our first one on this specific simulator. Let's go Starks, and then if we're feeling up to it, we'll probably double back and we can do one with taking the wide receiver to start out. So we'll take Starks, immediate starting safety. Yeah, it makes the safety room a little bit more crowded. I'm perfectly fine with that for a guy that is a true first round talent that could be a difference maker on the back end. I'm perfectly fine with that. Heck no, Giants smoking. No, that's probably too far to move back.
That's too far back.
You know what? I'll just leave it there. 52.
Jalen Milroe, baby.
52 what? More like
sake. All right, so tackle picked over.
Everybody gone.
No, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. I'm intrigued by Logan Brown.
Logan, yeah,
but no. It's gonna be enough. It's I don't know where my guy is on this list, but I assume given
is he gone?
That, yeah, he must be gone.
Somebody grabbed him.
Absolutely not. Y'all will see me crash out.
If it's Cam?
If it's
Bond.
Oh, Bond? Yeah, no, absolutely not. No.
I would crash out.
No, they must just not have him on here.
He's not on the list.
My guy from William and Mary.
You can search his name.
He's not on the list. Interesting. Okay. He's not an interior offensive lineman on this. Oh, he is. Oh, okay, so they have Charles. Which again, I don't necessarily agree with. It's Xavier and Jonah. I'm just gonna say Jonah. He's gonna make some team really happy. Just not us because we don't need to take interior offensive lineman. So tackle picked over. Let's go with D line. I'd be perfectly fine with Deion Walker here. I will say, as far as the options here, it's kind of getting slim. Yeah. So I got an early vote for Deion Walker, given how slim it's starting to get. Corner, any of these guys worth taking here at 63 in your opinion?
Burke isn't a bad pick.
Burke, I like Parrish.
I still think you could wait probably day 3 on him as well too.
We do a good job with later developing corners. So.
Yeah, I think I'm more so waiting as far as these guys.
What's at the edge?
Yeah, I was gonna say so. I'm not going to check safety because we just took Malachi Starks. Princely played pretty well as far as edge at Ole Miss. Got JT. I personally like a Jordan Birch. I'm getting around Odehu, who played behind the Murphy brothers at UCLA and Latu as far as that's concerned. So I'm, and that's Daniel Harm. Shout out to him over there, RGR Football. He's one of the guys that really likes him. So I'm getting around to, starting to watch a little bit more of him as well. But I personally like a lot of Birch. I think Princely would be worth this pick too. Why is it? I don't know what the star is. I'm afraid to click the star because I don't want to accidentally click them. This is favorite. So yeah, Princely certainly an option. Again, Deion Walker, I think at the top of this makes a lot of sense. We can look at the running backs. Judkins runs with that physicality that you love and also brings a level of explosiveness. Caleb Johnson, the patience from Iowa makes a lot of sense. Sampson's solid. I wouldn't necessarily take him this early. We've got plenty of running backs further down the line that I'm not necessarily tripping myself over as well.
Exactly.
Check wide receiver, Higgins and Noel, the Iowa State combo. I like Higgins. I won't lie about that. Bigger wide receiver, certainly. Jalen Warren also fits the bill too. CJ, how do you feel about these wide receivers? Anybody that you feel like you need to bang the table for?
Jaden for sure. I love Restrepo's route running. Wouldn't mind him at all. It's a little early for him. But on this picture right here, yeah, it'd probably be Jaden. And then I love Jaylon. He's just so small, but I love everything else about him. Anybody else go down a little bit more? Nope. Torrey Holton is a day 3 guy for me. Yep.
Trey is having an aneurysm in the chat.
Noel. I rock with bro. He just everybody in our chat taller than him.
Linebacker again, Surgeons are more my guy, but again, I think Chris Paul and Stutzman, if they're going around here, I think we can wait as far as that's concerned. I wouldn't prioritize them over Deion Walker as well. So I think Judkins, I think we all agree is within the running. I'm probably waiting on tight end. CJ, you agree as far as these two guys are concerned, Ferguson and Helm?
Those are probably the only two guys I like right here.
So Judkins, Deion Walker, Princely, I think would be the 3 guys here that we would, or I'd say Higgins, Judkins, Deion, and Princely are the 3 guys. And again, we're back up here at 63, so we're really picking 2 of these guys. But I think, I saw, the way this kind of works out. So you went kind of a luxury pick here at safety. My question would be, do you need to take these next 2 defensive linemen? Do you feel like you could take a defensive lineman and a weapon from this standpoint? I think we agree that one of these has to be along the defensive line for sure. Yeah. But how do you guys feel about it?
Deion Walker for sure. If Judkins is there, 66, I'm doing it. If not, I'm going to receiver or whoever the best player available.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If I got to this spot and Deion Walker's on the board, I wouldn't pass him up. I don't think he'll be there at 66. I don't think he's going to last too much longer. So
I think I agree with you guys, specifically as far as what the thinness of that defensive line room started to look like too. So edge, Princely's still there, Higgins still there, Judkins is gone. So
just like
I like Caleb Johnson. I do. I don't want to act like I don't. I mean, this would be tough. I think I'd probably still go Higgins or Princely between these 2 right here.
I'll probably go Princely right here. Yeah. I love Jaylon. Wouldn't mind another weapon at all, but this receiver room has a lot more. Scroll down that list again. Let me see. Is there anybody else that intrigues my eye?
I do like Royals also. You mentioned Horton, obviously.
Yeah, Jimmy, he's another guy on our list.
Good.
Nick Nash.
Jimmy later on, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't hate myself for passing up on Jaden Higgins. I would probably be upset if we more priced on Princely. So, yeah.
I know it's obviously, homer pick, but I'd still take Theo,
I'm cool with Theo.
With one of those extra 7th-round picks we end up getting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jimmy Horn and either one of those guys later for sure. And this is we're talking about wide receiver 4 at this point. So, yeah. I think the D lineman Princely is much more priority, so that's my pick.
I'm perfectly fine with that. Princely is a guy that is raw, but you continue to coach him up. Princely is a guy that in 2 years, when you say, and I'm going to say this, when you say goodbye to George Karlaftis, he could take over a starting edge spot. And he may even give you more than that, more immediately than that, depending on how things go. So I like again, start of this draft has certainly been defense heavy, and I'm not complaining about that, to say the least. Okay. Well, wow. For purposes of making this draft somewhat realistic, I may take these 2 7th-round picks just so we can make it look
like ours.
Yeah.
I do it. It's only 3 spots back in the 3rd.
Yeah.
So.
I'll accept that.
Plenty of picks, baby.
No.
No.
Hold on a second.
No,
Bro,
definitely
who do y'all think we is, bro? What do you?
Right?
Anyway. So we look
Dummy.
again. Could double up here, but probably would avoid it. I think that defensive lines have been well picked over. Both the tight ends are on the board. CJ, two guys that we like here as far as 98 is concerned.
Yes, that's
running back. Sampson here. I know people are like Scatterberg, not my type of guy. Do have some guys further down here that I like. RJ Harvey, certainly part of it. Rashad Smith. We talked about Rocket Sanders last time. Love Jordan James as well, especially if he's going at 204, which is crazy to me. Yarn's a little bit more of a receiving back. Taj Books down the line also could be, but I like Dylan Sampson. I'm probably not banging the table for him. We could look at corner. Denzel Burke, like you talked about, obviously you like Denzel. I think this certainly could be a pick for him, even though you've added Fulton. I think you can add another cornerback here. I don't think that's a crazy thing to do either. It's my guy here. They have taken Gray, so I will not talk about him. Linebacker. Still got both Paul and Stutzman on the board from that standpoint. If we want to take one of those, I know CJ, you love Stutzman. Did we take a wide receiver? We did not take a wide receiver, but those guys have kind of been picked over. Only Horton remained. So, you felt strongly, DG, about Denzel Burke. Is that where you want to kind of go with this one?
Yeah. If it's a day 3, guys, it's pretty much between Burke and. Well, this is still day 2 because we're in third round, right?
Berkey.
Yeah, technically.
Berkey.
I wouldn't mind taking a tight end here either. I know Trey asked about Helm's ankle. I think he just rolled it.
It's just a rolled ankle, and ultimately that's why it messed up his athletic testing too. So I'm not concerned about Helm. I would still be fine taking him here. I would take Ferguson over him.
Berkey.
Yeah, I don't mind either one of those guys for real. More biased to him, but Ferguson, I feel like it's better. I'm good with it.
Tell me, I think because I'm a little bit more inclined to wait on corner because we have added Fulton. We obviously took Starks here at 31. I do like Ferguson a lot. You're not going to get a chance to take any one of these tight ends as it's running out. I think we can all go with Ferguson on this one here. Go to 132 as well.
Fergalicious.
Berkey.
Oh, God. Oh, Denzel Burke. Of course, the Eagles took Denzel Burke.
You busters.
So, running back, Tootin lit up the combine with his speed. Just went crazy as far as his speed was concerned. We've seen Ollie Gordon as well. Still could wait down the line as far as my guy RJ Harvey Jr. Corner, Dorian Strong, Kobe Bryant. Obviously, I think this is a fair aspect to go take Kobe Bryant if you want to so choose from that standpoint. And then linebacker, Stutzman, your guy is still on the board. I think you like Stutzman a lot, right?
Yeah, I'll probably take Stutzman here.
I'm good with Stutzman
here. But we smacking this draft right now.
Yeah,
I think Kobe's still on the board.
Around.
Kobe.
Yep. Yeah, we don't have to think twice about that. And we'll go ahead and get on to the 7th round as far as that's concerned. So now the issue here, of course, light on running back.
Jordan James still on the board?
He is still on the board. I don't know if we're going to get to it. Harvey is gone, unfortunately.
Jordan, come on, Jordan. Come on, Jordan. Stay.
Oh, boy.
I know Brashad's probably about to leave. Come on, Jordan. Right there. Oh, we made it. Yay.
We made it. George James, welcome to. I'm not even going to look anywhere else. I'm just happy that George James made it to me. Wide receiver. Any of these guys kind of catch your eye as far as I've heard a little bit about Nick Nash. I've not been able to do any work as far as Nick Nash
is
concerned.
Old.
Old as hell.
He's old.
But he can play. But he is old.
Theo, I'd be interested in as a prospect.
Any of the Colorado guys still there? Are they all gone? All of them?
I think the Colorado guys have been taken off the board, because I don't see Wester. Took corner, took safety. I think you could double up on defensive alignment like a Nazir Stackhouse. I don't think you find anybody else as far as because Shook's on the board. No, he's not, so we're good. I would honestly let me double check to see. Yeah, I'd probably go I'd go Stackhouse and then in with Weiss. Do you guys have any objections
That's
to
fine.
that?
Stackhouse and then go get Rocket Sanders.
Oh,
You want to double down on running?
Yeah, yards.
Facts.
I'm not against doubling down on running back.
Facts.
Honestly, the fact that Yards is still here, I'd take him over Reese.
Yeah, but
I'm good with
Woody
Yards.
Marks. Yeah, Woody Marks.
Yeah.
You've been outvoted, Trey.
Sorry. What do you say, Miss? Yeah.
Heck no, M-I-Z-O.
Heck no.
The thing you can say. Oh, that works. Okay. Take a screenshot of that for later.
Our secondary gonna be demons with Kobe and Malachi. Oh my goodness!
Oh my God,
we ain't giving up no.
I mean that secondary group is nasty.
They camp gonna be so crazy in the DB room. Oh my God!
I love the idea of getting Dion and Princely. This is that's a crazy draft right there.
Got tight end in the future. Double down on pass rush. Got DB help. Got some good value at running back. Oh yeah, we killed that draft.
Oh geez. Okay, that's
this is our best one yet. First, I like this one. We hit on everything: linebacker, tight end, depth at linebacker, DB set.
Great draft as far as that's concerned. You know what? Let's since we did all love that draft so much, let's do a different simulator real quick to end this out. And oh my God, let's do it more. Jesus. Oh my head, yeah. Boy, Malachi Starks would be fun. You know the things that Spags would do with Malachi Starks.
Boy, oh boy, he had Jaden running all over the field if he had Malachi Starks.
Another guy at safety I'm intrigued in is Malachi Moore too. True, like center field, deep lane safety.
Him, Watson, Starks are the three. Like you can't mess with those guys.
So we're here for this next one. Buko went early and on the PFF board as well, and I believe Burden went right before him, and the Seahawks need a wide receiver, so that makes sense. We're checking. Where did they have Golden going to the Ravens? Okay. So I love Derek Harmon. Honestly, these two both guys that I would be very much happy to get at 31. Josh Conley Jr., of course. Xavier Watts kind of comes into play, along those lines too. Way too early for Higgins. So I think, that's what it comes down to for me.
I'm good with Harmon.
Yeah. Let's do the defensive line at 31 draft. And here they already have our picks in, so that's nice. So took defensive line. We'll populate some running backs, some wide receivers, some tight ends. Certainly DBs as well, and tackles. Really anybody. You can do all the positions. Another biggest Jared Ivey guy. I think Ursery is fine here if you want to end up going that developmental tackle option. Again, I don't think that getting Jaylon Ward prevents you from doing so. Obviously, Travion Henderson being here, lugged Mason Taylor, like Jordan Birch. Maybe a little bit early for Jordan Birch personally, but it's fine. And then Ferguson, like we talked about, Archie Harvey as well. I'd probably take Henderson over Ursery if it came down to it.
Henderson would be the pick for me.
Definitely Trey for me.
Yep.
I wouldn't pass that up, especially in second round. He's not going to be there much longer.
Actually, a dog.
Man, this is tough because I like Ursery. I got Mason Taylor and I like Birch, but
I'd probably go Ursery here just because you can bring him in and now with having Jaylon Moore you can kind of allow him to sit back and see what he becomes, in the next couple of years, and then if you can able to move on from Jaylon, say if Jaylon Moore prices himself out, you honestly have a guy that you probably feel comfortable with swapping in and making him your left tackle of the future with development.
Yeah, I like the way you laid that out. I just wanted to bring it.
Always have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Any of these guys kind of stand out to you guys outside of Ursery?
I really like Josiah Stewart. I think but I just noticed he doesn't fit what Spags likes it at edge. For real.
Yeah.
I just think the way the league is trending, you kind of need a guy that can get off the ball really quickly. But yeah, he doesn't fit the size profile of what Spags like, so I don't think they would ever draft him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, none of these guys really big time stand out to me. I think that if you went tackle here with Ursery to have him develop, I think that would still make sense. CJ, anybody for you? Obviously,
to me,
we both love Mason Taylor, but anybody other than him would stand up.
Yeah, either one of those tight ends right here would be nice, but it's kind of early, so yeah, I go back up tackle too, because this is only pick 67 or 66 for us. So yeah. We still got 10.
And again,
95 pick.
Again, this is a trial period for Jaylon Moore, and again, you can get out of Jawan Taylor's contract if you want to. So, getting Ursery,
maybe Ursery becomes your right tackle.
Right tackle, it's very possible. So wide receiver, or I should say, running back, defensive tackle, offensive tackle off the board as well. So you're looking for some safety, some corners, some edges as well, and we'll put in linebacker as well as that standpoint. Isaiah Bond is out there, who obviously you want. Makuba, who we talked about, did fit what you want to as far as safety is concerned here. Gunnar Helm also. Then again, as far as tight end is concerned, Kobe Bryant, who took the last one. Noah Williams a little bit further down would be early for me. I don't like any of these wide receivers. I like Parrish. The reason why I'm hesitant on Parrish now is that you got Fulton for the next 2 years. If you're really committed about McDuffie in the slot, Parrish would be a slot. So I don't feel inclined necessarily to make that happen. But again, you can still take Parrish and then just have McDuffie outside, and that'd be fine. From that standpoint too. So I'd probably prioritize Makuba over Parrish though ultimately.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's probably more of an important position for you than
sure.
Corner is, especially with the Fulton signing now.
Especially if you move off Cook, you need to have those guys ready. So
yeah, and I'm back and forth between Makuba and Helm. I like Helm. I do like him. But I'd probably still go Makuba as well.
Oh, one thing, Makuba and Jaden Hicks would take off heads.
Smack
would hit a lot of people.
Yes.
It would not be very fun for people.
They would hit very hard.
And I like looking at this just from the standpoint of he's got some slot, experience earlier in his career. Obviously played a lot deep this year, which I think is important as well. So I think I'd lean towards Makuba from this standpoint. So we'll go Makuba. Take a look at tight end. Certainly, that's been picked over. Any of these guys catch your eye? I know we maybe did a little bit more work, CJ, since we talked last. But
Caden Prickshorn.
Okay, from Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm. He can go. He got juice. Not a good blocker, but he can run.
Not a good blocker, but he can run. Hey, look, there's something to be said for that for sure. Well, we'll keep wide receiver on here. Certainly corner and certainly edge and linebacker as well. UCLA edge, I like the idea of bringing him in, certainly out of this group. Corner's been a little bit picked over now. Ditzelberg's still out there a little bit later on down. Stutzman, I don't know how he's
Danny
ranked all the way down here as far as this is concerned. Did you take Stutzman in the last one?
Yeah.
Yep.
You did take Stutzman in the last one.
Take him in every draft.
Take him Everyone. Take him in all.
Take him in all.
Do it. No, I wouldn't be mad.
I can't believe him or Kaiser are still available. Those are my two linebackers in this area, so I like both of them. I like Stetson more, but
I would go to training camp with my Texas gear on and probably boo him, but
and then
I'll let it go after a
he
while.
would sign his jersey when he gets a game-winning interception.
Yeah, I'll let it go after a while.
He is 6'3", so he's tall, which I love that. So, and he has the ability, I think, to, if need be, to wear the green dye because he did it at Oklahoma. So,
I'm glad he would be on the right side of history this time.
I'm sure if he was in the locker room, guys like Menu, if he signs, would give him a hard time.
So the question I'd ask is, how much of a difference maker do you think he would be taking over for Tranquil in a year as far as the weak side linebacker?
Elite. The instincts are incredible for me. Plays off ball, played on ball. When he first got to Oklahoma, he wasn't playing too much middle. He played more so weak side. After his last couple of years at Oklahoma, he's had to run the defense before the injury he had. But I think he's a guy that could play on or off ball, weak side or strong side. So that's why I love him so much, just because he did both, and he led his team in tackles damn near every year. So
yeah, in our matchup, being a Texas fan, in our matchups against him, he was always an issue. Something that we had to circle pretty much. And that Oklahoma defense was incredible last year.
Shout out to Venables.
No, he certainly flashed against Mizzou for sure. No doubt about it as well. I'm interested in Kaiser. I haven't done a lot of work on him as well. You want to talk me through how you feel about Kaiser as far as that's concerned?
Similar traits. A guy that can run the defense. He did it for obviously Freeman, for the guys in Notre Dame. Tackling machine, doesn't really miss tackles. That's why I love him and Stetson. They're kind of in that same mold to me. If you ask them to play on or off ball, they can do both things. They don't really miss too many tackles. Guys that are very smart. Don't really get too caught in coverage. Obviously, they're not the most amazing coverage guys, like we said. But as far as guys that can run a defense or play weak side linebacker, they can do both. That's why I love them so much, because most of these linebackers, guys that weren't really asked to do much or call a whole defense, both of those guys were asked to do both and did it at a high level. So, and they were available. They played a lot of games too.
Mm-hmm. Let's say Kaiser, just to switch it up a little bit, and we'll, even though obviously you have Stutzman ranked ahead of him, we'll just switch it up a little bit, and we'll take Kaiser to replace one Notre Dame linebacker with another one. And we'll get on there. So they don't have. They have one of the extra 7th round picks. They don't have both extra 7th round picks.
They don't have the Mr. Relevant pick.
Yeah, they don't have the Mr. Irrelevant pick. I got late early, didn't it?
Running back?
Did not. Let me just double check. Yeah. So, I mean, we could double up on running back theoretically, but, that probably wouldn't be the best way we'd go. Not going edge. I think we could look at wide receiver there still. Definitely look at tight end. Even though your guy is gone.
Wouldn't be mad at Gadsden.
From Hughes.
Fits that.
Yeah, he was catching a few nice passes from McCord for sure.
Yeah, kind of fits that hybrid, bigger receiver, tight end kind of role.
Mm-hmm.
Something to be said here. Kyron Lacy
would be an treat.
Very well.
Crash out number one, but he can play.
I was about to say it is all manners of bad around Kyron Lacy right now. So
ain't he arrested? Lord Jesus.
Yeah, it's not good with Kyron Lacy. So we're gonna stay away from him.
I love a good crash out.
He can play. No cap.
Love me a good crash out receiver.
Yeah, I'll probably go either Theo or the Syracuse tight end right here.
Yeah.
I'm glad he popped back up. Sorry, go ahead.
Go.
I was gonna say, for what we've been through, I'd probably go a different route than getting Kyron, but
I was wrong.
So I watched a fair bit of Ty Robinson versus Ohio State and Wisconsin, and I liked what I saw, and I need to go back and watch him versus Iowa to really confirm. But I liked what I saw from Ty Robinson, and he performed very well at the combine as well. So I like Ty Robinson, and I know obviously he took Harmon already. I would be okay doubling up as far as the defensive line group is concerned, and finishing in the 7th round with Ty Robinson as well.
We get this deep. By the time I'm checking the phone. I'm probably out Saturday,
We in DG, we at the, we at the parlor, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Vibing, drinks is flowing, you know what I mean?
We like, who we got? Oh,
We
cool.
got, all right, bet.
Cool,
Y'all got
nice.
my wings? Extra ranch.
Bad.
I'm just checking if there's anybody here.
What quarterback? Oh, wow.
Let's go. Woody Marks here. I like some things that I saw at him, so we can double up the running back position with Marks. Certainly a little bit of a different draft than the one we did earlier, but Harrison Reed to be a developmental tackle, I like that idea. Trayvon Henderson's going to be a 3-down running back. Derek Harmon's disruptive defensive lineman. Ty Robinson adds a defensive lineman to the room. Makuba brings the safety skill set that I like. Kaiser, again, guy that could be a weak side linebacker immediately, but also really good as far as a fourth linebacker. And Mark's just running back depth as well. So, all right. That's a good place to go ahead and wrap it up at the 2 hour and 15-minute mark. My goodness. We had a lot to cover, obviously. The Chiefs have made a good bit of moves. We had some tape to go through, some new guys to talk about. I think that I'll probably try and do a stay scheme, and it may not be immediately, but I do want to do a stay scheming kind of about these moves. And maybe one specifically on Jaylon Moore, and then maybe one talking about Elijah Mitchell and Kristian Fulton in combination too. Obviously, check out Kingdom Cast on Thursday. As always, before we get out of here, make sure Underdog Fantasy sign up for a $100 deposit match. True 3. College basketball March Madness coming up. Make yourself some money over there on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you sign up for it, baby. True 3.
Y'all want some player props?
One.
Hit my DMs. I got the player props if you need some props. You know what I mean?
Opening day for baseball is coming up.
Yes, it is.
Hopefully, do they have futures on there for baseball?
That's good. They should.
I don't know if they do.
I didn't look. I
I
know price.
Yes.
I know Underdog should. Yeah.
We're into March, baby. We got March Madness around the corner, and that means baseball season is also around the corner. So make sure you get over to Underdog. Sign up for that code True3 for $100 deposit match. If you guys have the opportunity to as well. Anything else before we go ahead and get out of here, fellas? Nope. Sure. All right, then I think we're good.
Charles Omenihu, come back.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. No, who love you like us, dog? Dang, bro. Come on, bro.
It's Wednesday, brother.
Hollywood came back. Came back. Why can't you come back?
Come on, gang.
Come on, bro. Right. Texas boys is here. Zay needs you.
Sign that 2-year deal, bro. Cash in again.
Come on, bro. Let's get you this ring. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, boys. As always, for DG, CJ, I'm DMac. Peace out. Go Chiefs.